Welcome, everybody, to the Making Awesome podcast. This is episode 229. We're going to be hanging out, talking about some interesting things that have happened in the industry in this past week, and, well, what we think about it. So it's all about market consolidation and the SV08 Max from Sovol. So if you guys are new here, you're just tuning in, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. If you do want to support the efforts that we do here on the channel, links are in that description. We'll get to the billing department in a few minutes, but Jacob, my buddy, my friend,
Yep.
co-host, how you doing, boss man?
Oh, I'm a friend now. I've made it.
Well,
there we go.
you
It's
know.
official. He said it live.
I guess at
so he
some
can't
point I
take it
have to be
back.
kind of nice to you, so, you know.
But no, it's been pretty good. Pretty interesting week in terms of just like how the market has been slowly shifting once again without many people hearing the news. Because again, the news in additive is really hard to keep on top of.
It's just non-existent.
Yeah. Honestly, that can be a talking topic on its own, is how bad the news publications are for staying on top of recent developments.
Well,
but I digress.
I'm not even certain it's their fault, right? So many companies in this industry are not great at marketing or anything like that. Ours included.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah. Like, you know, we are speaking from a place of knowledge and experience to tell you that we suck at this because we know we do. So yeah. we know we're not great at it. So that means when big industry news happens, if you don't really submit it to a news website, you don't find
it just
out.
Gets missed,
right? Yeah, it just simply gets missed. And you know, sites like 3D Printing Industry and others, they're just, I don't know the right term for it, but they're just bringing together public information in a means that is easy enough for people to understand. It's like they're summarizing press releases and things.
It's almost like there isn't enough high quality news to make its own dedicated publication. So you end up with more of a generic news publication stream, at which point most people don't tune into that because they're not interested in PLA material number 83 has a slightly new formulation and been released to the public. And then on the next page, it's something really important, but it gets drowned out by just the generic, just media troll. It's like on the 3D Musketeers Discord, there is a automated bot that is giving news updates, and it like hits 4 times a day, 5 times a day,
if not more.
And the first thing I did was mute it because it's all full of generic news where I don't care that Stratasys has a new blend of nylon powder. It's boring news, and then you miss the really important thing that just goes on by in the stream of cat.
I keep the one in our private area that's like for staff only unmuted, but the one in the public section, which is not as it is not as, why am I having such a hard time with words today? It's not as complete. It doesn't pull from as many feeds as the one in the private area does. I do have that one muted so I don't get, you know, hit twice a day, or, you know, 2 at the same time. So, but I look at the headlines of it because, thank God, sensationalized headlines have not made it to this industry yet. So I can at least read the headline and know what the article is going to be about, and that will allow me to determine whether or not I actually want to read it. And that brings us to one of the topics, is that BCN 3D is filed for bankruptcy. Q.Big is also filed for bankruptcy, although they filed back in late January. But I think the big one that we want to dig into today like to start is that brand new SV08 Max from Sovol.
No,
It's
wait, that hasn't filed for bankruptcy. That's a
yeah, they
ruse.
have not
Don't
filed
have
for
to worry about
bankruptcy. It's brand new printer. Brand new printer.
that. Just want to really put that out there. Sovol is not going anywhere.
Not to our knowledge, at least. I mean, Sovol, if there's something we
Please
need to
don't go
know
anywhere.
about, I mean, hey, we'd be happy to break the news. But no, Sovol's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And this new printer, I think, is a sign. We've seen machinery getting larger and larger and larger, right? The X1 Carbon a few years back brought in the 256 cube standard. That has kind of been like the de facto, oh, your printer now has to be 256 or larger, or no one's going to buy it kind of thing. We then had the H2D, which is like, what, 350, although it's technically 320,
Yeah.
and yada yada. But now we're seeing a lot of companies pushing this larger barrier. We've seen the Ratrig VCore 4 with options up to 500. We've seen Orange Storm Giga. Both of those machines have varying issues with assembly and quality standards. But now we have another entry into the damn that's big market with the Sovol SV08 Max at a 500 millimeter cube build volume. And that is a massive printer.
It is huge.
To give you all context, the shelves behind me are 2 feet deep, 609.6 millimeters deep. The SV08 Max is 700 millimeters deep. So it will overhang the shelf behind me by 4 freaking inches. That is a lot. And I'm hoping that Sovol's put the feet like at a max of 2 feet apart so that they do fit on shelves like this size. But if they haven't, well, it's now become more complicated to deal with big printers because, oh yeah, it's also like 720 tall, right?
Yeah, it's a big box. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that size includes the plug receptacle when it's plugged in.
I doubt it does, but I mean, if they're smart, it's over on the same side as the spool. So the spool
Yep.
sticking out is
It
the thing,
uses the
but
same volume of space.
it
But like
is
a
a
plug
big
receptacle is
machine.
another 2 inches.
Yeah.
It's 2 inches of extra space. Like you really do have to consider most tables, especially engineering ones, come in two sizes. 600 is your worktop, so 600 deep
Yep.
worktop, and 800. If it doesn't fit on an 800, you're really going to struggle finding many people that can do that unless they're putting it on the floor,
Yeah.
which has its own level of issues, such as screen position. Because if you're putting your screen on the top of the machine, it's great when it's on the floor. But if you're putting the screen on the bottom for a table and you put that on the floor, well, I can promise you, I'm not bending down to touch a screen. I'm lazy. I've already got a bad back. I'm not doing that.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Nah, I'm not doing it either.
it adds a level of questioning that you have to now consider is where do I actually put the machine? And I think that would be one of the biggest stumbling blocks for it, because from the looks of the pictures, they look pretty good machine quality. Like they've reinforced the frame, which was my first question.
Yep.
Is when you go bigger, things become softer. It's just
Yeah, I
the
learned this the
part of
hard
physics
way.
you can't hide.
I did learn this the hard way with our
Uh-huh.
D-bot that we built. It was
Ah.
$65 to go from a 400 millimeter Z to an 800 millimeter Z. It ended up being way more than $65 worth of trouble to do it because aluminium tends to be a little softer than you expect, and things
Oh yeah.
tend to shake. Especially when you're trying to run a fast printer, you need a rigid frame so that the darn thing doesn't shake itself apart. It's something that we really didn't consider
Mm.
when we were building it, and it was kind of the nail in the coffin for that machine and why we basically no longer use it. It sits in my garage. It literally holds the Taz 6 right now. The Taz 6 sits on top of it, and it's just there. I'm at this point where we need to decide if we're going to fix it rebuild it, or scrap it. So, oh, dude, we totally forgot about a company that's going out of business.
Have I just blanked a
Yeah,
really important piece of news?
yes. Although it's mostly in the US, so I'm not too surprised you don't know. Open Builds is going out of business.
Wait, what?
Yep, they're done.
They were the backbone of the rep rap movement in America.
They're done.
Hell, they were the backbone of rep rap in most of Europe because we got most of the open build plates and the open build wheels.
Yep.
That was actually my very first custom printer was bought via the Open Builds website.
I'm like, I remember Open Builds came to mind because that entire machine was spec'd and built from Open Builds inventory.
Oh man.
Yeah, Open Builds is gone. And the funny thing is, they're like 15 minutes away from me, and they have not, and now will not, ever let us film. I've been begging them for years. So they have a warehouse in at the Zephyr Hills Airport. I only know this because I've randomly seen them at marketing and media events. And I'm like, you guys are here in Florida? They're like, oh yeah, we have our HQs over by Zephyr Hills Airport. I'm like, well, no kidding. I want to come over and film. And like, I've talked with their marketing people a few times about doing things, but we've always been sidelined to do it. Like, I wanted to build a couch for their entryway that was all made out of Open Builds materials with like off-the-shelf seat cushions. I'm like, that'd be super cool. Like to build a couch
Cool.
out of you know, C-beams and stuff like that, but fortunately, I doubt that's ever going to happen, although they are turning out inventory at pennies on the dollar right now. But I think that them moving away too is also kind of part and parcel of what we're seeing in this industry of, well, if you don't innovate and you don't stay on the bleeding edge, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it hard. They have not done a ton recently, but like you said, they're like the backbone of I need peace, here's peace, thank you, here's money. But the competition out there for cheap T-rail, V-slot, that kind of stuff has come up. And, well, if you're pulling from one of the best manufacturers on the planet, but they're also 3 times the price of everybody else, how do consumers do? They vote with their wallets. They always vote with their wallets.
Oh so, no, that is an absolute shame.
It is,
but
and we'll
no, go on.
I said we'll get into it because there's some business to it as well, and frankly, I want to talk about why Sears as a company didn't make it either. I think that that's an important thing to discuss, especially for you out there that are looking to either start or grow your businesses. The whole case study surrounding Sears and why they failed is ridiculous, because Sears and Netflix too, like Netflix actually succeeded. They had a huge opportunity to pivot and they didn't take it. Well, Netflix took it. Sears didn't. And we can see how that worked out for them. Redbox, same way. Redbox failed because they had an opportunity to pivot. They didn't take it, and they failed. Part of business is staying fluid. And when you see an opportunity, if you don't immediately take it, at least keep an eye on it. Is you need to make sure that as it matures, is there a way for you to still take it? So, anyways, I want to hit that billing department real quick. We're about, 15 minutes deep into the show right now. So let's hit that billing department. Let's thank our sponsors for the show. But before we do thank the sponsors, I and Jacob, we need your help. We are currently seeking editors for the channel here at 3D Musketeers. We're not only searching for a dedicated channel editor, like a regular everyday channel editor that we need for regular videos for 3D Musketeers, we are also searching for someone dedicated for the podcast. So both of these roles will be part-time with opportunities for full-time moving forward. They will be fully remote, and they will be contract-based. 1099 makes taxes easier. You do not have to be based in the United States, We found that it actually isn't that big of a deal, but it is preferable because the closer you are to our home base in Tampa, Florida, the better you can work because everything is done literally fully remote. You control a dedicated editing PC here at the facility because my upload speed sucks. It's the easiest way to describe it. My upload speed is only 20 megabits a second, and it sucks. But the editor ideally would have the ability to not only edit in DaVinci Resolve, be able to, they don't have to have a decent computer because we do. So that's another thing. You just have to have the skill set to do it. Flexible schedule, Photoshop skills are required to do things like thumbnails. If you have experience doing copywriting, even better, but we do have copywriters on staff. We are looking for someone to assist in all of that. It is, I would assume, well, I mean, looking at the current staff and what we're looking for right now, the goal, and you can expect around 20 to 30 hours a week of work for the main channel editor. We don't actually know what it's going to take for the dedicated podcast editor, but
we'll figure it out while it happens.
Yeah, we'll figure it out while it happens. Pay is flexible based on your skill set. If you do want to shoot your resume and have a little bit of fun, you can take a look at the description of this stream, video, podcast, whatever. You will see the instructions on how to email and what to email. If your email title is not the one that we have listed below, we will not reply to it. You must follow a basic rule here, which is read the description. So, it's a big thing. Anyways, look.
Yeah, so long story short,
we need help.
There's only two major requirements. One, you need to know how to use DaVinci Resolve. Two, know how to use Photoshop. And Photoshop doesn't have to be like the super professional level, just
there is
good
a third.
enough for thumbnails. Good internet connection.
Nope.
Because you need to be using a remote connection to an editing PC.
That's fine, but there's another one. You need the give a damn training, right? You have to come with someone who is, you have to be the person that really, really wants to help and do these awesome things and be a part of what we're building here. That's what we need. And as we grow, you'll grow with us. So, yeah, greatly appreciated kind of thing. So yeah, if you do, check out the description, shoot us a resume, and you will get a one-on-one interview with me. So, should be fun. But
sorry, that doesn't sound as bad as it actually is. Grant's lovely.
Yeah, no, I'm not that bad. Thank you to Nomad's Galaxy for the $5 saying Grant pays me in head pats and praise. JK, he's awesome. I'd pay you in money if you sent me an invoice. David Connor Shover, Mr. Brisket himself says next up pork ribs. Oh, hell yeah. Dude.
You're making me so jealous.
We have it. So Mr. David Connor Shover, for those that don't know, did fulfill the lifelong goal of us to have an actual food podcast here and bring us brisket to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap, which is still the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened to me so far as a content creator. Like, oh yeah, here, a random person that I don't think we've ever met before brings you food and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trust him. Totally gonna trust him. And it was amazing. The brisket was absolutely amazing. Truly, truly good. So pork ribs, we have a channel in the Discord called Send Foods. Yes, it's a joke. But you gotta send pictures of those ribs in there. We also have a recipe channel if you want to, share the recipes.
I share quite a lot of recipes on that.
Mad Cat.
As I said, we're a food stream. We're not actually a 3D printing stream.
We're a food stream. Mad Cat USA says, Grant pays me in sarcasm and snark. JK, it's awesome. There was that one time where I accidentally did a chargeback on Mad Cat's invoice because I did not notice who it was from. And I'm like, I don't know who this is. I'm not accepting this invoice. He's like, you haven't paid me yet. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, and I got a chargeback about this. I'm like, we need to fix this now. Thankfully, we got it resolved. It was like, there's a problem here. Fun times, but hey, you know what? He likes working with us. We're not that bad. But yes, we prefer to hire from people that we know or that know us first. So if you are interested in working with us, hit us up. Winslow Joy for the $10 ad-free streams. Thank you, sir. And MLV for the €2 saying you guys are getting paid. No, we're not.
Well,
No.
we are getting paid by you.
Well,
Thank
yes.
you for the 2 euros.
That's fair. We are seeking sponsors. We're going to get to that. And huge thank you to today's sponsors of Construct 3D, the UK's fastest and first bamboo 3D printer. If you want to check them out, some of the safest, strongest, they literally let us film whatever the heck we wanted 3D printers. Check them out. Links down below, construct-3d.com. They are... If you haven't seen the video, go watch the video where we tour with Jacob. It's just because you're in it.
Look, I get to show my own product, okay? I already feel awkward enough sitting here while you are like, yes, let's advertise the other person sitting in the stream. And I can't say no.
Hey,
it's
look,
so good.
Until we get another sponsor, your guys are sponsoring the show. You're not paying anything.
Please sponsor the stream so I don't have to hear my own advert, which was not planned, by the way. It was just Grant was like, you know what? When we don't have one, it's a Construct 3D sponsorship. And I love it. Well, it's so nice. Okay. But at the same time, I have to sit here and just not say anything because I don't want to sponsor myself.
But at the same time, right? I could say that it's sponsored by 3D Musketeers, but nobody in here realistically needs my service, right? Because most of the people that listen to the show have 3D printers. If you don't, we're a 3D printing service bureau. We have been for 10 years now. But the likelihood of someone in the chat wanting a safer, larger, better built, family-owned, made in the UK 3D printer is significantly higher. You know. And that's why Dev Miner says effing sellouts. You damn right.
Yeah, I think Russell Moon is right that you're a Construct 3D shill.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a Construct 3D shill.
The one thing that living in the UK never trains
we've talked about the lemon drizzle, okay? The lemon drizzle is why I'm a shill. The lemon drizzle is why I'm a shill. A big thank you to Printed Solid as well for being the filament sponsor for the show. We do have a giveaway in that pinned chat message, so if you're watching this live, go ahead, fill out the information, and submit it. We will choose a winner after we end the recording, but when we're still live. I always forget. Oh yeah, merch. We have shirts now. Shop.3.
So you shill my company and you forget about your own.
Look, they're super sweet shirts. We have a lot of community feedback in the Discord at the $10 tier and higher, which is a great place. Mad Cat's in there, MLV is in there, David Connor Shover is in there. We got some awesome people in the server. Heck, Dev Miner's in there. Who else? Russ. We got a lot of awesome people in our server. If you are,
I will say the shirt quality, very nice, by the way. I really want to point that out. I finally got 2 of them, and they are super comfy.
Oh, those aren't
actually really nice.
Those aren't even the shirts that we chose.
Really?
Oh yeah,
they were the rejects.
Oh yeah, we chose a much higher quality shirt than that.
I really like those shirts. They're soft. Yeah. They're lovely. They're stretchy. They're breathable.
Yep.
Also, they got a cute cow on them.
We use Bella Canvas shirts, although I'm looking at maybe going to a different one. Anyways, it's a whole thing about clothing. And we are going to be releasing new merch soon. And there is a dedicated discount for people in the Discord. So if you do want to pick up some shirts and you want to support the channel at the same time, go join the Discord. You'll get a discount so you can pick up shirts for a little bit less money. Collie's still waiting for his? Really?
Oh.
Collie, shoot me a message. Did I not send you a shirt? Shoot me a message. I'll get you a giveaway link as soon as we're done. Because that's the only way I can give away shirts now.
Twix are asking, if you live in the EU, do you have to pay import and such if you buy a Construct 3D printer? Depends on the country. Most of the time, I would assume so, but I think it's only a 10% import. Thank you, Brexit, for ruining all of European trade for us. But you don't pay UK tax because it's a import. So there you go.
Yeah. And as always, subscribe, support, normal things. The shirts, I will say, they're made local to you. We use Fourth Wall, So you shouldn't pay any crazy imports on that, but they're also only like $25, I think is. We try to keep the shirts affordable, like $22, $25. I don't know. I forget. I haven't
Oh,
checked it in a while, but
Thomas in the chat with
yeah.
a really great idea for what you need to
What?
call
Victoria's
your
Secret merch?
Victoria merch.
Damn
Yeah.
it. Oh my god, you're totally right. Oh, damn it. Someone, all right, whoever's watching that's in our Discord, please put that in the 3DM merch channel, that it's Victoria's Secret merch. Oh my god, that is... Damn it, that's such a good one. How have
How
we
hard would
never
it be
thought
to
of
get
that?
lingerie made?
It needs to be called Victoria's Secret. While that is another brand, we should be legally okay with this because it is nobody would confuse us for the lingerie company.
Well, you say that, but Hermes was slapped the
Hermes.
shipping
It's
company. Oh,
Hermes.
Hermes. Well,
Hermes.
in the UK, I'm talking about the shipping company, not the clothing brand.
Oh.
So the shipping company and then the Hermes, which was the E3D Hermera original name,
Mm-hmm.
were all slapped into oblivion by Hermes, a clothing company, fashion brand, because the word is similar. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's like Dove chocolate and Dove soap. They're not the same product. Nobody's going to do it.
yeah, don't eat soap. Doesn't taste good.
Maker's Corner says underwear coming soon. That is actually an option inside of Fourth Wall, and you don't want to see the cursed designs that we've done for underwear.
Okay, so I'm hearing you're gonna have Victoria's Secret merch underwear.
You're not going to get me to wear it.
Oh no. You have to rep your own clothes. You have to do it.
Extruder for the butt, Devmiter says. Oh, God. Oh, and there it is. We're in full degenerate mode
Oh,
already.
can we get a Cocoa Press underwear brand?
Jesus Christ. Why would Ellie be fine with that, too? Like, God. All right, so I got to lose some weight. And I'm kind of debating on, like, doing a fully transparent weight loss journey in the Discord. But yeah, I was surprised by a doctor recently and required to get on a scale, and I was not happy about the weight that I was. I have now hit a new high in the weight that I am at.
You look pretty good.
255 pounds.
Are you sure it's not mostly muscle mass from the amount of walking you've done recently?
I'm very certain it's not. It is absolutely due to the amount of eating that we've done recently by traveling so
That is
much.
true. But you were
So,
rocking like a 25, 30 kilo backpack
not
for
30
like
kilo,
30
like 30 pound. But yeah, when it's...
Well, you had two cameras in there. That's at least 15 kilos
only
minimum.
two? There's like 9 in there.
Point proven. I think it was about a 30 kilo.
Yeah.
Maybe a 25 kilo.
I mean, the bag's right here. I know what it weighs. When it was fully loaded, it was 27 kilos.
There you go. There's the answer.
I don't ruck.
So you were
fully
rucking
loaded.
a heavy... Well, either way, you did 20 plus kilometers in a day
Yeah.
with that heavy backpack. I think you might have put muscle mass on.
You've never... Have I ever been around you in shorts? I'm really oddly built because I used to be a cyclist. So like from the waist down, I'm like relatively lean muscle. From the waist up, I am not lean muscle. That's why you normally see me in pants because I look weird. But yeah, so I'm gonna be going through a weight loss journey. We'll put it in the Discord. VAT Engineering says walk a mile to dinner with your wifey. I want you to know that if I walk a mile in any direction, I don't hit a restaurant at all. I'm not even close to a restaurant if I walk a mile in any direction. So it's like a 5+ mile walk to anything, which is just funny. It's part of the reason I love living in the boonies. In our Florida heat, nope, says the happy extruder. Yeah. After dinner, well, there's no sidewalks where I'm at. And, well, I don't trust myself for grass. Anyways, we're not going to get deep into Grant's weight loss journey. If you want to follow along with that weight loss journey, I'll put a dedicated channel in the Discord for it. And, I don't know, I'll put batteries in my scale again so I can shame myself. But all right, I think we've hit enough of the billing department. Let's get back into let's get back on topic here. Um, let's dig into the SV08 because I think that's what a lot
That's
of
the interesting thing.
yeah. So I have two SV08s. Hilariously, I bought a second one with the intention of turning it into an index printer. Right. Oh, Gabe's 255 as well. We're gonna race. Oh, also, Lucky 13 Toys is here. Sousaphone himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the potentially ball jointed individual himself, Gabe from Lucky 13 Toys, who we did interview at Rocky Mountain Rep Fest. He needs to come on this show. And if you want to see Gabe on here to talk about why he's super freaking awesome, leave us a message or something. The Dummy 13 person. ah, oh crap, today's literally the first day that his models aren't on sale anymore. I bought a lot of his models during the printables sale. Someone post the link to his printables store so we can pimp it out for a bit. One of the devs, or not devs, one of the mods. You gotta give me the WWE intro every time. I can do
make
that.
that happen.
I mean, I could do that. I think we need to get like a proper script for this, but I could totally do it. And you'll get it. I don't have a problem doing it. It's a lot of fun. I'll do it. But John Cena is a local resident. He's tough to find because you can't see him, but he is a local resident of Tampa.
That was awful.
You're welcome.
I'm pretty sure I just watched half the viewers just leave on that joke.
No, the viewers have gone up, so go to hell, Jake.
Guys, get some taste.
So let's dig into this new SV08 Max. 500 millimeters cubed, basically 700 millimeter cubed outside volume, 1300 watt heated bed, and it's basically a Voron 2.4 that took the little blue pills. It's just bigger, right? How do we feel about that?
I am concerned but intrigued in the same amount. So I do have experience building big machines. I would actually say my bread and butter is large format. I've only ever built up to a 410 by 410 as like the bread and butter. I've done bigger.
Yeah.
But there are complications. You can't just scale up the size of a machine and expect it to behave the same as a smaller machine. And it's all because metals are soft, yo. Like, they are not as hard as everyone expects. And making a thing bigger makes all of the resonance more pronounced because things flex. So while I have a concern with they've just made it bigger so it might perform worse or it might be sloppy or other things, I'm also really intrigued because 500 is borderline, but that's big industrial number of size. So industry tends to like 600 is their go-to size. Everything for some reason at industrial scale is 600 modules.
I don't know
why. If you look at
why.
Modix, it's 600 by 1.2 meters. I think it might just because sheets of metal
That's what I
come
was
as
going with.
1.22 by
Yeah.
2.44. And I think it's just an imperial holdover of like, for some reason. But that's what industry uses. It's modules of 600.
Right.
So if you want, it's a 600 by 600 or 600 by 1.2 or 1.2 by 1.2. It's all 600s.
Yeah.
500 is that weird borderline where you're close enough to 600. If the printer's good and the quality of the parts that come out are good, you have a pseudo-industrial machine. Like, there is a lot of people that just want big part and they don't know how to cut their parts down. So I really am thinking like this could be a really nice entry level for new people or just already experienced people that want to print big, print at a relatively high quality because the SV08 prints good. It's a good printer. And if they can keep that good and make it bigger, well, you kind of hit it out of the park. And at the price point, it's like,
That's where I'm
It's kind
going
of
here,
hot.
right? That's exactly what I'm going for, is that the SV08, it's got its problems. Like, the hot end is trash, but great, just upgrade it. For the cost of the machine, just go get the micro Swiss from the factory. Like, the things that are wrong with it, it appears, I don't know if the hot end's the same. That's the one thing we don't know yet. I hope it is. But all the other concerns appear to have been addressed to some extent by Sovol. So that's a
Mm.
big deal. Uh,
Like, I did notice there was metal reinforcement on the
yep,
frame,
yep,
which is a lovely thing to see. They're advertising 50 cubic millimeters per second on the nozzle, which is the other big concern. Is when you print big, you need to print fast,
yep.
because bigger, like, it's a volumetric time increase. If your smaller part took, say, 1 hour and you doubled the size, it's now 4 hours, because
Mm-hmm.
it's doubled, then doubled, then doubled.
Yeah,
No, no, it's 8 hours.
it's
It's eight,
quadrupled.
222. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It
is
scales,
one of those time constraints that people don't assume, where we actually get a load of like show parts through, where somebody wants to show off a thing and they want it within a reasonable time frame, and you put it in the slicer and it's 3 days. And then I literally turn around and go, if we shrunk this by 15%, it doesn't affect the part, because it's not a part,
and it
it's a
takes a
show part.
day off of it,
Yeah,
if
it's
not
so
more.
much time saving, so much it's not even material saving, really, it's
Yep,
time.
yep.
Because material is fairly cheap and time is expensive when you get to bigger sizes.
And as a business, time is your most valuable asset, period. Every single time,
Yeah.
time is your most valuable asset, period.
So there might be a new hot end, is the bit that they're hinting at. Not sure, but there might be.
Simon Snow with the 5 memberships gifted. Thank you very much. We got Max H got one. The Reverend got one. Directed Tech got one. Kali got one. Alex A got one as well. If you all do want to join as members, I will say, if you're looking for behind the scenes content, this month is probably one of the best months in a while. You're going to get at least an hour of us hiking, and that's the 4 of us, myself, Amber, Jacob, and Jacob's mom, hiking in Sweden, because it was so damn pretty. We just took my 360 camera, put it on a pole, strapped it to my bag, and started walking. And what that walk was, probably 6-7 kilometers that we did.
Oh, easy. It was
And
beautiful.
we stopped at this
and really
beautiful
good
lake.
conversation
Oh,
throughout
yeah.
all of it. And if you've ever wanted like a chill stream that you can put on in the background and listen to just some people vibing in the middle of a forest walk,
And look at anything you
this is
want,
for
because
you.
it's a 360 camera.
It's good. It's honestly beautiful.
It is only an Insta360 X2, right? It's right here. It is only an X2, so it's only 1080p equivalent. But maybe if Insta360 wants to sponsor us and give us the brand new X5, that'd be cool.
I mean, with the amount that we use them when we get together, it will be loads of hours of free advertising for how good that camera is.
And there's a 30+ minute actual hike in the actual mountains at the Electric Ranch. It was supposed to be like almost 2 hours long, but for some reason, the X2 stopped recording on the walk out. We don't know why. But if you've ever wanted to see what it feels like to be the camera operator for the Fallout game, that is exactly what that stream at the Electric Ranch feels like, because it's myself with cameras, Amber, and then a dog named Ambrose. If you've watched the Electric Ranch, it's Scotty from Strange Parts, his new channel. They have a dog. The dog's name is Ambrose. But I'm like, no, the dog's name is Dog Meat. It's absolutely Dog Meat, because you hear nothing. It is silent up there other than my dumbass hyperventilating. Some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. Like, just straight up ever seen. So, yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. So yeah, looking at this SV08 Max, 8mm bed. So I think that they're looking at addressing
That's a good thickness.
Yeah, they're looking at addressing the taco bed. I mean, look, not Sovol, the Cheaty Plus 4 is a 6 millimeter bed, and I think it's pretty good.
Now,
Pretty
we
good.
don't know if it's cast aluminium or tool plate aluminium. They just said the
I'm
thickness.
assuming it's milled. I'm assuming
I
it's
would
milled
like to think
down.
it's milled or cast. And if it is, that's really good.
But
That's like, that will fix the issue.
well,
Straight up.
they fixed. Okay, it is milled. DevMiner says the other issue is, or the other not other issue, but the other nice to have. There's an eddy sensor built in, so
Mm,
it's not going to do touch probing anymore. It's just going to be an eddy current sensor, which on a bed that big, you kind of need it, right? You kind of need it.
yeah, like the main benefit of an eddy current
Hypocon.
sensor, especially on big prints, it's not actually even about the speed. Okay, it is about the speed. It's always about the speed, but
Mm-hmm.
it's because you get density for the same amount of time taken. You can get, I don't know how high Clipper's probing number goes up to, but you can pretty much get as dense a mesh as you physically need. Whereas a touch probing method like a BL
Oh
touch or
God,
an
it takes so
inductive,
long.
it takes so long. And to speed that up, you spread the scanning points out. So you end up with these surprisingly far apart, out of the way points that might not necessarily give you a good surface because they're so far apart. Like, hell, even now, so on the Construct One XL, it's 325 by 370. We do 9 point leveling because it's an inductive probe. So there's 9 points by 9 points. It's a very dense mesh. It takes 5 minutes. Still faster than a bamboo lab, but that's a little bit of salt on the wound. Uh, but it's time that you don't want. And the one thing that you really like with the eddy current probe, it's almost instant. The quality's better,
Way
and
better.
anyone who does video editing or 3D modeling will know this feeling when you go from a slightly slow graphics card to a blazing fast one when you've upgraded your system. It's not that the work you do has changed. The output images are the same. It's the fact that it can do it faster means you can just it removes the mental blockage of let's try a thing and test it. And it's the same for the bed leveling. You want to use your printer more because you're not sitting there waiting for it to do something. And it's a really nice step up. Anyone who hasn't used an eddy current probe, I highly recommend just investigating if you can get one for your setup because it is so nice
Yeah,
to have.
they're not expensive. Big Tech has them. If you do want to support kind of the OG eddy current probe, that's going to be the
Mhm.
Beacon, which also supports touch probing.
Yep, the touch probing's lovely
It.
because it also fixes the issue of the inductive probes, which is
I
you
hate
don't
that I
know the
don't
length of the
have
probe.
one. Like I don't have one, but I also have no idea how to implement them at this point. Like I'm such a Voron moron and a Clipper idiot. Like it's just it's bad. But I'm hoping to solve this. I have a new octopus board, so let's not fry the second one. Please and thank you.
And if anyone is on the RepRap side like me, there is two options available: one from Duet 3D, one by Mellow. There's no excuse anymore. You can pick one up and implement it. They are so good. They honestly are amazing.
Little Nepo Muck, thank you, Nepo, with the 5 gifted memberships. Matt got one, TJL got one, Tin Talon, Mr. Tiburum, and Spectra V3I got one. So thank you very much, Nepo.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to see you. I see that Robin did your job today in the Discord, but the job was taken care of, and that's all that matters. If you don't know what we're
We've got a
talking about,
question.
you'll have to join the
Oh,
Discord. $10 tier higher.
we've got a question from Tina Schultz.
What do we got?
Do you think they went too far on the Sovol without four-wheel drive on the Core XY? Because it is a really big printer.
I don't think so. I don't think it's needed.
I
Now, okay, first off, what it is four-wheel drive is where you have vertically opposed
no.
motor. No.
Well, the arrangement of the motors is less important to the meaning of it. It means so take in your head the standard Core XY frame design. So you've got two motors at the back, and then your frame and your head somewhere in the middle, and it goes all the way around into the head.
Mm-hmm.
So from the motor, you've got one side going to the head, and then it goes all the way around to the other side. So you have one big belt.
Okay.
On a printer this big, we're probably looking at a 3 meter long belt
Wow.
on one motor. And then
Yeah,
the
I
other
mean, it
one,
makes
because you have a
sense.
high and a low, it's another 3 meter long belt. Four-wheel drive adds two more motors, not at the top, where you've already got two for your belt
Be it like
alignment.
the other side of the printer.
They add them on the bottom. So what it effectively does is it shrinks the length of the belt at minimum by half and at most by 8 times. Because what ends up happening is as if your head's in the middle, so we're looking top down.
Okay.
Do we dare test
No,
the
we don't.
crotch cam
No,
to do
we
it?
don't.
We've got a
If you,
stupid crotch cam
it's
that does
not
the
a crotch
table.
cam. It just happens to
It's a
look like
crotch
one for
cam.
you.
I've got a piece of paper. Screw it, I'm doing it. I'm gonna
Okay.
test it. You guys in the comments, please tell me if this is worth it or not, because this is the perfect time to test it. We're testing it live. What's the worst that can happen? So we've got crotch cam. You've got your head in the middle.
Sorry, ladies.
You've got
He's
your
wearing pants.
motors in the back. And what happens is you have a belt go up, around, and in, all the way around and in. Oh, actually, no, sorry, that's wrong. It goes there. So you can ignore that bit. So you have this really big belt length that on a printer this big, it's about 3 meters. What four motor drive does is it adds another motor there. So as the belt comes out, it immediately enters a motor, and on the other side as it comes in, there's another motor. So that becomes your length, not the entire way around. It effectively massively shrinks the belt length of the printer, which is the big issue of Core XY, is this huge ass belt length. So that's what four motor drive does, is massively fixes that issue. I don't know if it's needed or not. I would have liked to see it, because on a big printer, the belt length and the resonance will be your biggest issue. That input shaper will be quite aggressive.
So
Is that actually an issue? Probably not. But it does mean if you print a benchy, the text on the back are probably gonna be smoothed completely over.
So help me out here. On a four-wheel drive, is it just sharing the same motor driver, or is it a separate motor driver as well?
Depends on the motor driver. Some people will share, some people will use separate. I personally, as an industrial user, I'd use separate for the safety. Most stepper drivers, they do recommend do not plug two motors in.
Right.
But you can get away with it.
I mean, Prusa does it, Bamboo does it, a lot of companies.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Bamboo doesn't do it. They just use a one-stepper motor.
But no, you can share the output because the movements are identical. They're not special movements. All you're doing is you're basically moving where the motor pickups to a different location.
We've actually got the expert in the chat right now. Reth is here.
Ooh.
Reth says separate motor drivers for most Clipper implementations. This was before you came on as a co-host, obviously, because you would have remembered the interview. But we interviewed Reth all about chasing unicorns, because he's a unicorn chaser. Tries to get a perfect input shaping graph, and we'll go through lengths that are only to be described as hard mode to get there. So he said you need to take into account motor sync for all-wheel drive. So traditionally it is separate.
Yes.
So this is where open source is a huge deal, because this machine from Sovol is open freaking source. So if you wanted to, you could replace the motherboard with one with more motor drivers and put four-wheel drive on this machine. Now, I'm not saying you should, but it's possible because it's open source. That's where I think the value of open source comes in, especially when we look at a retail machine that is open source. Now, if someone wants four-wheel drive, they can just do it. DevMiner says you have to replace the gantry, but sure. No, just a few parts on the gantry. You wouldn't have to replace the whole gantry.
Yeah, it would just be the front pulleys you would have to modify slightly.
Just a couple of things. And you probably would want to go 9mm belts, that larger gantry. Hopefully it's what Sovol
they're
did.
definitely good. I hope they're using 9mm.
I don't know.
Anything less than 9 would not be worth it on a printer that big.
Yeah, that I don't know. That was not in the material that they've sent us so far. So what we know so far, this was sent to me in a marketing email. So I have not signed non-disclosures around this machine, so I'm going to talk about it. Sovol, if I'm not supposed to, you sent me a marketing email to the info account, not to the account that we have communications with.
And we did double check. It did say unsubscribe at the
unsubscribe.
bottom,
Yeah.
which implies it's a public
Yeah.
media blast.
So it's going to Kickstarter. Robble about Kickstarter. $1,300 retail for the machine without the enclosure. It is going to be on the early bird special for the for $999, so $1,000 for it. No enclosure. The enclosure will be heated. If you want the enclosure, it will be heated. We don't know the temperature of the chamber. We don't know the wattage of the chamber. We don't even know if the chamber's insulated beyond just the plastic panels themselves. It's probably not.
I'd assume it's not.
Yeah, I'd assume it's not. But when the machine is already drawing 1,300 watts for the bed, plus a chamber heater, she gonna be spicy here in the US for sure. Reth said, I know you talked about it, but the frame becomes very important, and frame panels should start to be structural. Yes, I agree here that adding that enclosure is going to stiffen the machine quite a bit. They do have some pretty beefy corner bracing. It's not technically a rib. It's more like a gusset on the corner, but it is a fully solid corner bracket that actually looks pretty decent. I think it's going to help, but you're still
I'm going to say something spicy.
Okay.
I don't think those corner brackets are going to do anything.
I think we're still going to see some flex in it, but I think for most people, they're going to put a big nozzle on this, and it's going to be a big, fat, fat line printer. So it's not going to go fast enough to matter.
Yeah.
And that's the trick.
I would go for the heated chamber, the structural rigidity increase. If they've done their panels right, if they're way too thin, it won't do anything. But they should be, from the looks of it, either like 5mm plastic or 3mm steel, which will be more than good enough.
No,
you never know.
It's going to be
cheap.
It's not cheap to ship. It's heavy, so it's going to likely be acrylic or polycarbonate. Most likely acrylic.
But yeah, if it's 5mm plastic, that should be strong enough to hold it square. That's good enough, and that will add so much more rigidity, and that will help the input shaper, because that will be the only caveat that I see of the current size is the input shaper will be more aggressive. And that's it.
Yeah.
The heated chamber, though, I would say definitely go for it.
100%.
Like, it doesn't even need to be about the rigidity. When you print big, any warpage you get
even
on
PLA
small parts
is gonna warp.
Is magnified.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Especially when you're
how
doing
much parts warp.
Like when you're doing stupid thick layers, like I have a Morse extruder for my TAS 6. It's probably the only reason I still keep the TAS 6 around. That is a 1.8 or maybe it's a 2mm diameter nozzle. It's a big nozzle, and it's 3mm filament. Remember, so we're not playing that weird game of needing CHT. It is not a CHT nozzle. You're flowing like 80 cubic millimeters a second, and the machine is only printing at like 30 millimeters per second because your material flow rate is so high, your print speed is going to be limited simply by the heater. So yes, if you're running a 0.4mm nozzle on this thing, it's probably going to shake quite a bit. I would hope that Sovol's done some testing. I know some creators have had these already, and they've done videos on them. I do my best not to watch creators' videos on products like this, because I don't want my opinion of it and the opinion of 3D Musketeers to be
You don't want to bias
affected.
yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to be biased like that. But I agree with Max, just put a damn tube on it.
I mean, for a printer that big, you basically want the best extruder and hot end combo you can physically get.
And most likely they don't have it.
Nah.
Put a Bondtech
so easy to
LGX.
cheap out on it.
Yeah, put an LGX on it, put a tube on it, and
put
or
a 0.6 nozzle. Like a 0.6, in my opinion, is like the golden zone for medium to large format, because it's close enough to 0.4. Most models still work, and nobody can really tell the difference. But from a psychology point of view, because this is the really big bit, is psychology of design. Most people only want 1.2mm walls. Well, on a 0.4 nozzle, that's 3 walls. On a 0.6, it's 2.
It's actually Well,
So
you could get away with it on like 1.5, but yeah.
yeah, but you don't want that. But the reason being is even though you're flowing more and you're moving at roughly the same speed, you've just cut your print time by 30%
Yep.
because of the psychology of the part
Yeah,
has changed.
you're
You
doing
don't
one
need to
less
move
perimeter.
3 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
that
the same strength.
dude, it changes so much on the properties, and we're gonna have a whole series on this. I need to get back to Vever. They wanted to sponsor that series. I need to get back with them
That'll be a
on it.
good series.
Where we test this kind of stuff in like real world test case scenarios. So I think you guys will enjoy it. Ref asked if it's a 2020 or 4040 frame. It's Sovol's own
Custom.
extrusions. Yeah, they're custom extrusions. It appears to be the same style extrusions as the SV08, which are kind of like a 4040, but it's contoured on the edges, so it's like rounded.
I would class them in the same mental strength profile as a 4040.
Yes.
Because it's the outer surface that matters. They're L shape with a little bit of another shape, so it won't warp or stretch as much. They're very nice frames.
Yeah.
Like, you got to give it to them. They've done a good job on the frame design.
And it's all mortise and tenon, so you're not doing butt joints and like having to screw into the profile itself. You're dealing with like mortise and tenon where it's going like, at least on the SV08, it goes like 15, 20 millimeters deep into the part. And then there's threaded holes that everything goes into. So like, hate the Chinese brands for whatever valid reason that you have. I actually think Sovol kind of cares. The problem that we see often, and Sovol's guilty of it as well, is that the first day orders of these machines, you're really just kind of paying to be a beta tester, and it's better to wait a couple of shipments down the line where you can get that improvement that everybody else has found before. So
well,
like,
that's the whole point of Kickstarter, is you are kickstarting their production. It's
right,
implied
but
you are getting
but
the
Sovol doesn't need
first
the
batch.
money, right? They
No,
don't
they
need
could
the
have
money.
tested it.
They could have.
But at the end of the day, if even though they shouldn't be doing it, it is a Kickstarter printer. It comes with the territory of you're saving a bit of money
Yeah.
because they are testing production with you, not themselves.
Yeah,
and
so
that is the savings you get.
like the Centauri Carbon was like this. They're now saying like the Gen 3 of the Centauri Carbon, like the most recent ones that are shipping, are starting to solve some of the Gen 1 issues, and Gen 2 issues are hopefully going to get solved relatively soon. Like, to me, we shouldn't be there, but the price point says that we're going to be. So that is what it is. There's no way around it. Apparently, YGK says it's 6mm belts. Ooh. That's going to have some stretch. That'll be like the first time I end up tensioning belts again.
Okay, in that case, from my own experience of machines that big, whatever print profile they give you, do not exceed 3,000 millimeters per second squared acceleration.
Pretty much.
It's not worth it.
Nah.
It's not worth it. That's still a good acceleration. Like, yeah, it's not bamboo level of like 8,000. You don't care. You want a good quality part, and it's going to increase the time by 5% at most.
Yep.
It just doesn't look as fast. That's it. So maybe at most 4,000, but that's depending on how heavy the gantry is. Because if they've left that cross beam solid, 3,000.
Just as with any large format machine, be careful. What a lot of you might not realize is 700 millimeters wide is bigger than some doors. So you will, it's a small door, but it's bigger than some doors. You'll need to be careful. Take your measurements. A lot of people that got that Orange Storm Giga, which is a much larger machine to be fair, but a lot of people that got them did not realize how big the actual machine is, and they had to resell it because it couldn't fit where they wanted to put it. And some people that use the Gigas end up needing to put them in their own rooms and assemble them in these rooms because you can't move it into the room later on, right? So you put it into a room and it's stuck there forever unless you want to disassemble it, which It's a whole nother bag of
Nah.
chips because that's a few hours worth of work to do.
There is nothing more permanent than temporary. If you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
tell yourself we're moving this out of this room, you have just sealed the fate that is permanently there
Yep.
for all of eternity. It is never being disassembled,
Yep.
never being scrapped. It will become a furniture piece that you talk about because you don't want to look at it if you ever say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you might
Ask
just
me
need to
how I
remodel
know.
your house, and maybe you're down for that. I don't know. I don't know. But this is so both Jacob, when we were talking about like before the show and talking about it, we both had the same kind of idea that is this potentially an indication of what the industry is looking for? So like this is following the same path that cell phones went, right? Cell phones got really, really tiny. I remember like the world's smallest phone. It was like this big. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
And
the prison phone.
no,
That was why it was
it
made.
was
It
a
was a
flip
prison
phone.
phone.
It was a little tiny flip phone, and it
I thought
worked.
it was I thought it was a prison phone, so you could like and then easily get it in and out.
I don't know about
That's what
that
I thought it
one,
was.
but I remember because my mother wanted it. She's like, "Oh, it's the perfect size phone. It's the perfect size phone." Well, now we're looking at, well, what's the biggest screen I can get on a phone? What's the biggest battery I can get on a phone? We went down this path of small printers, right? The Prusa Mini, A1 Mini, Positron. These are smaller machines that are
Mm.
designed for a Sovol Zero, even, right?
Mm.
V0. Now we're looking toward bigger because we're seeing some trickle here of the light industrial playing in the consumer market, or at least the high-end consumer market. And the
Mm.
thing that industrial really looks for is, well, size.
Yeah. It's like at the end of the day, the big question is why these players are they're merging which machines they buy. It's all down to if the part looks the same, and most people are going to be printing in PLA and PETG anyway, then why buy the £20,000 like entry level industrial machine when a Bamboo Labs does the same job, or a SV08 Max, if you
Or a
want big,
Construct
does the same job?
1XL or a Construct 2.
Yeah, I like how you shill for me. I feel allergic to shill for myself
See,
because
but
it
that's the
feels
trick. You shill for me,
weird.
I shill for you, and it's cool. Right?
Actually, it's about 28 degrees at the moment. It's pretty hot.
Yeah,
So
it's
there we
27
go.
in here. So
Uh,
I get it. Nomad's Galaxy with the $5. Of course, I said Positron, and he shows up and tosses a fiver at us. Says, "Are you saying the Positron is the first portable phone?" Um, no. I actually think Positron's smaller than the first portable phone. Uh,
yeah, I think the Positron is smaller.
DevMinder says, and yet 3DM doesn't print on Construct 3D printers. You're right, because
It's happening.
it is going to be happening. However, we standardized on a different brand before Construct 3D had ever launched. So, yes, correct. I don't have any Construct 3D machines because I'm begging Jacob to get the Construct 2 done so I can buy one. Because that's what I want. I want the heated chamber, I want
Yeah.
the bigger build volume, and all of that. I'm not too
And Grant's
concerned.
privy to the
Yes.
upcoming testing results, and
Yes.
it's made him a little bit tingly. Just a bit.
That's why my camera doesn't
Long
point
story
down.
short, all of the flow rates that we announced at the Smurf video, massively out of date, basically double them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have really pulled our finger out and we've done a good job. The heaters are better. Grant's got a little picture where I went, oh no, because I walked away, came back as I was thermal testing to see what the new heaters can get up to for the chamber.
They get
And
kind
the
of
chamber
spicy.
got to 120 degrees. I'm like, yeah, we need to get weaker heaters. These
Yep.
ones are too good now.
Yep.
But it's getting there, slowly. Slowly.
Dreams Void, Doug with the £2 says, you know what else is cool? This segue to our sponsor. The segue to our sponsor of liking the stream, since we have 40 likes and 160 people here hanging out. Thanking our sponsors for being awesome and supporting the show, and reminding you that if you do want to join the super secret Discord where we will be hanging out after the show is no longer live, you can do so at the $10 tier and higher via PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel members. Links are in that description down below. And then it's also Chris Catlett who wants to hate me and have me hate you, saying, but do you have ceramic heat breaks? Grant needs more of those.
Yes, I do have a ceramic heat break. To Grant's lovely hatred of them, we've actually done it correctly. It's reinforced.
This is actually
So
like
ceramic
nice packaging
in the
by
middle.
the way. Like,
is it?
Yeah, except it holds
towards the camera.
Oh. This is the nozzle box for
okay.
The
do the drop
nozzles.
test.
No.
Oh
yeah, it's not. Yeah.
F tier. F tier. It needs to have a suction pull. That is
I know,
the whole point of it.
But the funny thing is, they only put 2 in there, but you could definitely hold 3. But look at all the foam that they put for holding these nozzles. They know how delicate these nozzles are, so they put them in these insanely large boxes. Hillbilly Engineer apparently knows things. He's put some comments in there that I'm not going to say because I'm not certain we're publicly going to be talking about that. But he knows things that I don't know yet, and I apparently need to bother my cheaty contacts. Does it survive the canary cutter? I don't even know what that means.
It's the banana cutter.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean it's paper, right? It's just thick paper, so it's not corrugated. So. Yeah.
Hillbilly asking, can the Construct 2 print peak? Officially, I will always say no. Unofficially, the hot end can get hot enough, and the bed gets hot enough, and the chamber helps. I wouldn't print big, but there's nothing stopping you. But in reality, I'm going to say what I said with the Eliarchi machine. No, it's not designed for that.
So
don't advertise something it's not designed for.
Hillbilly Engineer, I know who you are, you know who I am, and I know what you're working on. Send me a DM that says yes or no, and I will either talk about it on stream or we won't. So that's...
I'm so interested.
I'm just going to leave it at that. I know some things that he sent me in a DM. If he wants me to talk about it on stream, we will. But otherwise, we won't. I'm gonna assume
don't fold to peer pressure.
No,
but I am pressuring you.
PEKK, PP. You can do PPSU. You can do PPSU on a lot of base machines.
Yeah.
But realize the bigger...
the hot end is designed for 500 for safety. We're looking at getting a higher temperature heater cartridge that can maintain 500 at full flow rate. That's the only downside with the current setup, is it's designed for 320 safe printing at everything. So not 500. So that's a simple change.
The thing you all should know about high temp and big printers is those two don't normally go together very well, right? If you want a big printer and you want a high temp printer, you often don't want a big high temp printer, right? You don't want that because it will take hours to not only heat up, hours to come to temperature and stabilize,
heat soak,
but it's going to cost you a lot of money to get it to temperature, get it heat soaked. Then you need to print the parts. And then, oh yeah, if you forgot, you have to post anneal, peak, PEC, PPSU, Ultem, and the others. So there's the DM.
Like, for example, I found out to my own horror. So I went to a military and F1 3D printing site. It's such a weird saying, military and F1 at the same time.
Yeah.
But they had
hand in hand.
Loads of Stratasys machines, the big multi-meter sized ones, and one of the new F3000s. They told me over 2 machines plus one F3000, their electricity bill alone for heating was £350 per day. So that's like $480 per day was just the electrical heating, not even the printing. If you can afford that, sure, do it. But that is the cost of most of these machines. Though, to be fair, I did start questioning why the hell are these machines not fully insulated? Because apparently they just dump all the excess heat outside the machine and they constantly re-pull in
Yep.
fresh air.
Yep.
Massive design
It's a
oversight, in my
terrible
opinion.
design
Just
oversight.
but they don't
Stratasys,
care.
they don't care because their consumers don't care because they're big businesses where an extra couple $100 on your energy bill is a rounding error. Like, it's not that
Yep.
big of a deal. Tactical Printing, welcome to the members only Discord. Thank you very much. Send us an email, and we will get you into the Discord as soon as the show is done. I did receive permission to discuss the project.
Ooh, I have no idea what this is. I'm now very excited.
So they are working on what they're going to call the Little Brother V11, which is a smaller 22 IDEX. That will allow
Oh.
the consumer and small print farmer to print everything except peak, with an approach in the design to allow the community to mod the printer to print peak. Not in IDEX style, but a single tool head. I'm not going to talk about the MSRP because he gave me an MSRP goal, but
I'm assuming it's a prototype at the moment, which means the MSRP is whatever they decide in 18 months.
I will tell you the MSRP currently is very reasonable, but I'm not certain it's realistic. But yeah,
Probably isn't. All the engineers undervalue what they've done.
So Hillbilly Engineers going for a small group of people that want to build this kind of thing. They're going to work together to make it happen. And they're pushing 1,000 watts on their heaters currently. So
Wow.
yeah, there's
impressive.
There's a lot to it. So just seeing, that was all that I needed to read for that. So yeah, oh, and I don't know if I told you, Hillbilly Engineer, but somebody sent me your video in an email saying this might solve your ceramic heat break issue. I'm like, I don't think I ever replied to the person. I feel bad because I forgot to reply, but I was gonna reply, I know. He showed me. We talked about it. Hillbilly Engineer, much more metrology than Hillbilly, I'll tell you that. So, yeah. Very, very, very cool project. I like the idea of making it so it's moddable by the community so that they don't need to certify it for safety up to peak temperatures. But if you want to do it, you can. And now it's your problem, not ours. I kind of like that idea because what that will do is it will keep the price lower because you don't have to hit the same safety factor. But enable a community of people, if they want to basically unlock the machine. It's like, flashing new firmware into your car to give it more horsepower kind of thing, which is cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, I quite like that. That's neat.
Yeah. So on the Sovol Max, they're claiming a material flow rate of 50 cubic millimeters a second.
If that is accurate, that is what you need.
I just don't see, unless they're,
I don't see it happening.
Are they doing it at 320C with ABS? Like, so they're advertising 50 millimeters cubed, but they're not providing you with the details as to how they got that, which makes it disingenuous for me. Now, if they want to adjust it and tell us what the temperatures and speeds and everything we're at to get that, fine. I'm happy about it. 50 cubic millimeters a second, I'm going to call it 30. I'm going to call it 30.
I'm going to call it less. I'm going to call it 25. Because if they're doing like your standard, I don't know, your like 25 millimeter length melt chamber, which is what most modern printers have moved over.
They're claiming 50. I'm not certain that you can get 50 with a 25 millimeter melt chamber.
The only way you can get 50 is if you have a CHT nozzle and you're pumping up the temperatures slightly higher.
And I'm not certain.
And if they're not doing that, it's not happening. It's one of my pet peeves is the marketing bullshit that just gets in the way of consumers knowing what they're buying. Yeah. I would like to start standardizing, at least showing like 2 or 3 materials at the same time with the temperature and the brand.
Yes.
And then you can go, at this temperature, with this material, we got this. And that is a really nice way to go, oh, I can roughly figure it out. Like one of the things people will really be surprised with, PLA has a really hard cap to how much you can push that plastic because it doesn't shear thin when you put pressure in. It actually shear thickens
Yes,
slightly.
yeah, it gets
Or at least
thicker.
most of the PLA blends, it gets thicker. So you end up with this like really surprisingly hard cap of like 30 to 35 cubic millimeters per second, no matter the temperature for PLA.
Well,
But on PET
eventually you'll
G,
get it to go
you can
faster,
do
but you're
whatever.
just going to carbonize and, vaporize it, But
Yeah,
yes. Yeah,
it's one of those things that I do want to start seeing more standardization with is just, hey, our extruder is this, here's the temperature, here's the material, and here's just a graph. They could have
yep.
easily added like 3 bars to that number where it was like up to 50 and then PET G is maybe up to 40 and PLA is up to 20. Like that is good. That's good clarity. That doesn't diminish the advertising, but it gives more information versus not trusting the information in the first place.
It's like I want to trust Sovol, but I also know better than to trust companies at this point. I they use the term trust but verify, but I'm like be skeptical and verify kind of thing. Like I'm
Mm.
skeptical that they're able to hit that. And apparently, according to the comments, one recent review parked it at 37 cubic millimeters. So not bad, but put a
What,
CHT on there.
40% less than what they said it was?
Yeah, put a CHT on there, and you'll probably hit the 50. So it I I don't like it, and I think when we were talking with Olaf and some of the others at Bondtech about the index, we asked multiple times about material flow rate, and they said there's really no easy way because there are so many factors that determine
Mm.
how fast a material can flow. Literally, the polymer itself matters a ton, right? Whose ABS are you using? ABS
Yep.
from different brands are not the same, right? Like I know this because of PETG,
Mm.
right? I've been testing PETG over and over and over from different brands to determine whose PETG I can print the fastest. And right now, the answer is polar filament. Um, with the caveat of it has to be pure PETG. I can print non-pure PETG faster, but you see considerably weaker layers. Polar has a low melt version of PETG. It is PETG, but you don't know what specific percentages
Mm.
each of those pieces are. And how they got it to be low melt, don't know. Don't care.
This is
It
one of
works
the
really
things
well,
I
and I have
see.
30 kilos of it here for inventory.
Yeah, this is one of the things I see a lot of people misinterpret when
Yep.
we talk about material science. A polymer is not a plastic.
No.
That is just straight up polymer is not a plastic. It is almost a brand. Like a plastic is a brand of a polymer where you can take raw stock PETG or raw
Right.
stock ABS, but pretty much no one actually sells raw. They sell the plastic version of it, which is a load of modifiers are added in, stabilizers. The big one's antioxidants, is you want your polymer not to oxidize or embrittle or absorb moisture. So they will add these additives in. And they're not filler additives. They are just additives for stabilizing the polymer chain and making it print better. And that's one of the things that a lot of people aren't familiar with because even as an industry, I repeatedly call materials polymers because that's what everyone expects. But that
It's a
doesn't mean it's,
buzzword. Yeah.
yeah, it's a buzzword more than it is what it is. It's a
Right.
plastic, but not a polymer, and a polymer, not a plastic. They're not interchangeable.
And
They
then
are different words for
PETG,
different reasons.
that's a copolyester, right? So it starts to become a little complicated. And I get that it's a selling point for people, but people will also get upset if you claim that you're going to hit 50 and then Joe Blow that buys your printer can't even get close to 50 because they're using different settings, whatever it is, different brand,
Yep.
different blend, and it becomes disingenuous. And it's why I really liked the way that Bondtech approached it by saying it will flow enough We make the CHT nozzles, you'll be fine, but understand that flow characteristics are more on your print parameters and your material than the nozzle itself or the hot ends capability itself, right? The index has such a small heater comparatively, right? You know, we're looking at like 100-watt heaters on machines these days. The index uses like 35 or 40 watts.
Yep.
That's it. And a lot of that is lost because of how induction works. So, like, if they're able to get the flow rates that they can, and we've seen these machines print fast, very fast. And these are beta machines that we're looking at, alpha, really. If they can get those kind of parameters, then it proves nothing except it depends. And it sucks that companies use it as advertising and marketing because the average consumer doesn't know any better, right? And it just becomes a problem.
Mm.
And I'm not certain how I, as a business owner, and how us as a content creation company take it. As a business owner, I know better than to trust it, but as a content creator, now we have one other thing to test. But if we're not doing the same test, is it a fair test? And yada, 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 yada. It's complicated.
I mean, it builds on top of that is if the companies were honest, you'd also have less of a job. Like you, up to now, like even now, we are entertainment people talking about the issue.
Yes.
But if all the companies did a good job, we wouldn't be talking about it, meaning even content creators get a worse time because other people, you don't need to make content on something that's true. You just read it and it's done.
Yep.
That's it. You don't need to be like, oh, we are having an issue and this is a big problem. Like, no, it's done. So we wouldn't even talk about it. So there's so many impacts of truth versus fake that it isn't just bad. There is good bits to lying.
Yep. And for those that didn't see it,
complex,
and that do want to see it, the index is going to the Midwest Rep Fest, going to Murph. We may be there. I don't have a guarantee yet, but we're trying. We'd like to go there, especially if Bontech's going to be there. We love Bontech. Got to say hi to the peeps. But that is in 3 weeks. So
I can promise you, I won't be there. Yeah. So don't hold your horses out for that.
What we gotta see if you can just like we should see if we can get you in for 3D Printopia, because like you guys can fly into BWI or even Orlando and then fly up with us for pretty cheap out of Gatwick. I know Gatwick's a little far for you, but you can get flights on North Atlantic for nothing.
I actually quite enjoy driving, strange enough, on our British awful roads. So
well,
it's fun. I don't mind driving.
We will have to talk about it after the show, because it might make sense if we can get you guys some cheap tickets, ship some printers over, whatever it is, you know, and kind of do it. But I've never been to a Murph before, Midwest Rep. I'm told they don't have air conditioning, which might be difficult. But it is much more northern. It's up in Goshen, Indiana. It's like 2 hours south, 2.5 hours south of Detroit. So it might be kind of cold. So yeah. Doug says he wants to go to 3D Printopia too, Jacob. He'll help run the booth.
Ooh, that's actually kind of tempting.
But we will be at 3D Printopia. So that's, I haven't even bought those tickets yet, and I'll tell you, we will be there. I got to figure out the dates we're going to be up there, though. Anyways, events are fun, and it is a great way to connect with the community. I will reiterate again, if you see us at events and we are actively filming, please don't approach. Wait till we're done, and then I'll happily talk to you as much as you'd like, within reason. But yeah, don't just randomly walk up to people when they're filming, because we are trying to go through and through and through as quickly as possible with people. Anyways. So where does this kind of leave us with the SV08 Max? What do you think?
I'm hopeful. I at this size, with the modability of the printer, and especially the heated chamber. So this, I do want to just point out heated chamber, big, good. You want a heated chamber at these sizes
Yep.
because any material that would warp over a surface will warp twice as worse than you can ever imagine.
Oh yeah.
If even if you get good bed adhesion, you're not fighting bed adhesion. You're fighting the magnet holding the bed down. Your PEI will taco before your
Yes.
bed gives up.
Yes.
And that is the one probably major like concern I'll have if you get it without the chamber is printing in PLA at those sizes actually becomes harder than printing PETG at those sizes.
You'll have to do some reworking on your first layers to reduce the contact patch with the bed. It's doable, right? It's not that big of a deal to do, but if you don't get it with the enclosure, I would kind of argue that it is basically a PLA printer only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, go with the enclosure. The power draw is a bit concerning where it's like on that limit of needing its own. What do you have out there? It's not a ring. It's split? Is it a split out there? Your
What?
power connectors. Your circuitry in your walls. They're made of melted cheese, basically.
14 gauge wire. I don't know what you're talking about, ring or split.
Well, so in the UK we have ring circuits. So all of the plugs are connected in a massive ring, and that's on one fuse box. So you have one fuse for a ring of plugs.
Oh, I think they're all just paralleled here. I'm not certain it's a ring. I think they're just paralleled.
Okay. Because like that's one of the reasons the UK can have more power in the wall is we have a max for the plug and a max for the wall.
Yeah, we call it a circuit.
Is,
yeah.
Yeah, like 1200 watts is on that borderline of kind of sketchy to your power circuitry.
Oh, rings
like,
are not
if there's
allowed in
any...
the States, apparently.
Oh.
Suck it.
Hey, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Who knows?
Like, I can pull 10 kilowatts out of one of our rings.
Yeah,
like, for 3 plugs in a row, maxed out, we can do that.
You're realistically limited to about 1,850 to 2,000 watts here in the States. Assume that most of your outlets are on a 15 amp breaker, and they will not be dedicated. Unless you got it put in there, it's likely not a dedicated outlet. It's like recently I found out there's a plug on the outside of my house that we use for like the pressure washer and stuff like that when we're washing cars. I recently found that plug is tied into the one behind me. Because every time, so I was in here working and Amber was finishing up her car. Every time she turned on the pressure washer, the battery backup beeped. Because there was, because of that current inrush dumped the voltage a little bit. It's like, oh, hey, there's a problem. Thankfully, there's not a problem. It's fine. But it was just one of those fun things. I'm like, oh, I guess those are tied together on the same circuit. That's fun.
That's fun to find out.
Yeah, I have a 50 amp panel, sub panel on the other side of the wall here, so I'm not too worried about extra power if we need it. But when you're dealing with a 1,500 watt, probably minimum 1,500 watt printer, that is a dedicated outlet, dedicated circuit, dedicated everything. And if you're doing this in your house and your electrical panel is not close, like my electrical panel could not physically be farther away from my office than where it is right now. It cost me $1,000 5, 6, 7 years ago to have that 50 amp panel ran and installed. And that was not dropping any outlets out of that. I have to have an electrician come and do that. So just be aware that your 1,000-ish, whatever, $1,500 printer could come with a electrical bill that costs as much as the machine does as well.
Yeah, like that power consumption is probably the only like other downside is it's quite power hungry. hopefully it idles at a good power rate. We don't know the idle rate because that is all based on how efficient it is. If
Yeah,
it's really lossy, we have no idea.
1,300 watts to heat up. That's not that big of a deal. It'll probably take
It's if it stays
10,
at that.
15 minutes to get up to temperature. But what is it? What is its overall constant? I'm assuming it's going to be its overall constant around 500 watts, somewhere in that range.
If it's good, it'll be 300 watts. So
If I'm not considering this machine without the chamber heater. I
then
don't
yeah, 500.
I don't think that this machine is worth it if you don't get it enclosed. I think it's going to cause more problems than it's going to solve, unless you have a very specific use case where open air is better. But I'm saying with the chamber heater, I'm thinking 500 is probably realistic.
Yeah. And that's good. So
it's not
other
bad,
than
but
the initial inrush, that's the only concern is make sure you don't have like a PC on the same
yeah,
circuit. I'm learning the same circuit because then you might pop your circuit.
right.
But $1,300. It's open source. It was slightly reinforced by the looks of it, so it looks like it will do a good job. You can get a heated chamber, and it's at this size where you can really, like, as a side hustle, do a big industrial project. Like this is the same quality output as industrial machines.
So
You will be surprised how bad industrial machine output
it's
quality
true.
is. So if they get anywhere close to it, yeah, do it. Like I would jump on this if like you have a couple industrial companies that you already talk to or just friends in them and you go, hey, I've got a 3D printer that can do this, you'll be surprised how quickly they'll be asking for jobs. Because otherwise, their only option is buy a Stratasys, and
Yep.
they know how much that is. And that's because they don't really invest the time to learn about the industry. You can capitalize on that. I think this is a really nice way for people to join in at the bigger pseudo industrial scale and pretty much pump some really good parts out. Also, big projects. Like, come on, big projects are cool.
But do be aware that while yes, this machine can likely come with the same quality that you can get at the industrial level, be aware that it won't come with the certifications that come at the industrial level. So that is something that you have to keep in mind, that don't be doing parts that require certifications with a machine that can't do certified parts. So that's why we say pseudo industrial, not actual industrial. So something to keep in mind there. PBD products with the $9.99. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the show and help keeping the streams ad free. We bring these streams ad free to you all, other than the, once an hour or so call to actions that we provide. And well, hey, I guess that's a decent time to hit the billing department and thank all of our sponsors, Construct 3D. If you do want to check out the UK's fastest 3D printers, you can check them out, construct-3d.com. Click that link in that description down below, with the Construct 2 coming soon with a massive build volume, heated chamber, and actually freaking safe, or as safe as 3D printers can be made. Yep. So check them out if you want to get a hand. While they're not cheap, they're valuable. That's where money comes in when you're a business. You care a lot more about the value that it brings to your company more than you do the initial startup cost.
And we are actually looking for beta testers at the moment. So that's a new thing. We've currently got 3 people on the books. We only have spaces left for 2 more. So if you want to get a machine early, and as part of getting it early, you just give us feedback on the machine and we'll provide you upgrades as we find things as you get them. Now is the time. There's only 2 spaces left. So send us an email if you are very interested in the industrial version of the Construct range of printers.
And I would say if you do want to go down that path, do provide a reference to a previous beta test that you've been on. That will be an important thing to verify, because if you only have a limited number of beta testing opportunities, you have to make sure that whoever's going to do it needs to be, someone that knows what they're doing. Yep. And apparently 3DQF will test one. So there you go.
Don't forget, you still have to buy it. You just get it early.
Yeah, you still have to buy it.
You still have to buy it. It's not free.
So, and a huge thank you to Printed Solid for being our filament sponsor. Check them out. printedsolid.com. They're part of the Prusa family. We always love Big Orange around here because they make great printers for the money. A little expensive, but I think the Prusa tax is still worth it this even in this day. And they're moving to doing manufacturing here in the United States with their PRUSA system. But the big thing with Printed Solid is the Jesse line of filaments, where they produce their own filament in-house, made in America, in Newark, Delaware. You want to check them out, printedsolid.com, links below as well. Make sure to leave a like, get subscribed, all those fun things that you do to help the creators that you love. And if you do want to hang out with us outside of these live streams, join at the $10 tier and higher on our Patreon, PayPal, YouTube channel members. And if you just want to kick a couple of bucks to the show instead, you can do that to help keep it ad-free. Like, subscribe, other things, merch, links in description. I'm sure I'm forgetting things. I always forget things. But you all know at this point. And oh yeah, we're hiring editors. So we have 164 people here hanging out. If you do want to edit for 3D Musketeers and you want to assist in the content that we are creating and you have experience in DaVinci Resolve, email us. Check the description for information.
Yep.
So, Jacob, do you think that companies like OpenBuilds and BCN 3D going out of business here, or announcing bankruptcy, have anything to do with this slide of the light industrial coming down to the high-end consumer market? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I want to start with, I think this consolidation, it's not even consolidation, just the death, the culling of industrial companies was an inevitability at this stage, where you don't need to buy a 15, 20, 30 grand machine with a maintenance package and everything just to produce good looking parts.
Yeah.
Like, that was the big difference, was you bought a Stratasys most of the time, not even for the peak and the peg. You bought a Stratasys
because it
to
just
print
worked.
the same thing over and over and over
Yeah.
and over again, and it did decent quality.
You spent
I'm not gonna say good.
You spent $250,000 because it was reliable, and reliability, again, is what kind of matters in business. If you're going to run this machine lights out, right, when nobody's there, you need guarantees, you need reliability. Someone is calling me from Armenia, apparently. I'm not answering that call.
Oh, come on, that would be so funny. Just loudspeaker right there.
Yeah, no, not answering that, and they hung up, so I don't know who the hell's calling me. But the big thing with Stratasys machines is that, by and large, you can run them lights out, and your insurance companies will allow you to run them lights out. And when you're talking about a multi-day print, running it lights out, kind of a requirement.
I mean, it was a requirement because the machines were slow. Like, in the big difference that even nowadays, like literally today, that we will see is there are no fast industrial machines in the same level as there are fast consumer level.
Not even close.
Industrial has sat on their patent molehill that they believe is a mountain, which actually means nothing because everyone has a patent on everything. Like, Stratasys has repatented a heated bed only like 4 months ago. Ignore patents nowadays, they've become such a joke. But the important thing is, like, these industrial companies, they sit on their laurels of they've got patents, they've got industrial suppliers, they've got establishment. And then eventually what happens is the smaller level that are still relying on that business model, like BCN 3D, is they didn't speed the machines up. They stayed at that level of they're comfortable with the quality. And I will say their machines looked great. They had amazing industrial design.
Yeah, they're gorgeous machines. Like, if you've never seen a BCN 3D machine, I don't blame you. They're not the most popular on the planet.
They're quite rare.
But they're gorgeous. Hilariously, if you see stock photos of 3D printers, they're almost always the BCN 3D machines. And I laugh at this because you go to like the stock photo websites for 3D printers, they're almost always the BCN machines because of how pretty they are. They're so pretty.
They are gorgeous.
Yeah.
And they did sit on that laurel of they look good in an industrial setting, they have the vibe of we make big important thing,
Hmm.
but they never really realized that companies like Bamboo Lab have come from the bottom and they have been slowly eating away, like the Prusas, the Bamboo Labs, the Sovols.
No,
Hell,
let's call it what it is. It's bamboo has been the push of this, right? This whole idea of industrial pushing into consumer, it's bamboo. The reason that this
mm,
exists is bamboo. Okay. Yes, the Prusa XL does what the Stratasys F3300 could only dream of, but the big name behind this, it's bamboo, right?
mm,
Are we going to point the finger at bamboo and say they're one of the main reasons BCN 3D is dead? Are we going to point the finger and say that
nah.
bamboo is one of the big reasons open build is dead?
I'm gonna say no.
I think it's their
I,
own
I'm
damn
gonna
faults.
I think it is self-induced suicide. If
Yeah,
a company isn't constantly innovating or trying to stay ahead of the game, you are
they're
inviting
doomed.
death.
They're doomed.
The moment you stop developing is the moment your timer starts for how long you can stay profitable. Hell, imagine if uh the Prusa Mark III never got updated
Oh god.
at all.
Yeah, Prusa.
There was only going to be so long Prusa could sell that Mark III, and then Bamboo Lab came along, and then that pretty much killed the Mark III.
Right.
If they didn't have a plan or development to deal with that, then they would have died. Now, obviously, Prusa came along, they released the Mark IV, and it was fine. They have that trajectory of they are getting better. The issue I have seen so much though with the industrial companies is
They
they
just
have
don't.
this bravado of we're industrial, therefore we don't care about anyone
Yeah,
else,
big
to
industrial,
the
big
point where,
parts.
yeah, like to the point where they just die because they sit there, they go, we're hemorrhaging money, we need investors, we need to profitize
Yeah,
everything. But the one thing I'm allergic to doing is actually improving our own damn
yeah.
products.
BCN, their most recent capital raise, like their most recent fundraising, was in November. 7 months, 8 months ago, and they
That
filed
is
for
not a long
bankruptcy.
time.
Now, here's the trick. Before they died, or, before they filed for bankruptcy, they threw off a company called Supernova that does
Oh.
resin printing. Now, I didn't do too much research into Supernova, but it's LCM, which a quick Google told me it was exactly what I thought it was. It's a competitor Carbon. And that's Carbon 3D, the company that does high-speed resin printing, not carbon fiber filaments or X1 carbon or whatever. It's a high-speed resin printer. That has a lot more value in this industry than where BCN had put themselves. They put themselves at
Mm.
the high-end business, low-end industrial market, in my opinion. And
Yep.
because Bamboo and now others, right? But Bamboo was the start of this, have blurred that line between consumer, small business, and low end light industrial. I don't know if BCN, I mean, they've had what, 3, 4 years to figure it out? Like, if they weren't already planning this pivot, the pivot was pretty much too late at that point.
Yeah.
Bamboo came out of nowhere. Not many people had the knowledge to know what was going to happen, right? The hindsight here being 2020 is like, yeah, they've changed the way this industry has
Mm.
gone. However, BCN had the ability when Bamboo first hit the market to say, hey, we need to downshift, we need to move some gears around, we need to figure it out. They didn't. And I like the BCN
They
guys.
didn't even try, and that's the bit where
Well, I'm not certain
this
if
death
they
spiral happens. They
I'm not
didn't try publicly.
yeah,
They didn't release anything that showed they were keeping up to date.
well they did. They
It
went
was
with
only like,
Supernova.
well,
They went a different route. They said, oh, okay, this is what it feels like to me. They said, oh, all right, it's not worth us trying to stay competitive.
mm,
Let's do what we can for right now to stay alive. Let's push money into this new system that we're coming up with, and then branch that company out. We'll bankrupt BCN, or we'll let it die however it decides to die, and then we can move into this new company that is Supernova.
Mm.
Now, whether that is what happened or not, who knows? That's speculation at best. But that's how it kind of feels, because BCN has been very quiet for the last few years, for sure.
Yeah. And the one thing that I also see quite a lot in industrial sectors is they rely very heavily on resellers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost impossible to buy direct for most of these industrial companies, and that is an issue. These industrial companies focus so much on themselves, they never focus on outreach.
Yeah.
So they give it to other companies, and it's bad. Like there was one company, I won't say the brand because I don't know if they were just dumped in the corner of this, but they were showing off BCN printers at a trade show. And literally next door to them is Bamboo Lab. And then across from them
Oh.
is Stratasys. And
Oh.
they sat in this middle. They even had like Markforged 2 stores over. And I'm just sat there looking at them. And they were printing a benchy and they were really proud. They're making loads of waves of people coming in. And they were immediately saying, we're so happy with the quality of this machine. Our IDEX printer costs this much. And we are printing this benchy in 2 hours, 35 minutes. And then immediately the crowd leaves. And that's it. That's all the marketing material they had prepped. And that was it. That it was almost as if the marketers aren't aware of what they're selling in the market because it's not their job. They were just dumped in the, hey, you're doing a trade show, here's the talking points, repeat these.
They didn't follow what the industry was looking for anymore. They followed what the talking points they were told. And yeah, that sucks. And what's going to happen here, and this is the thing that upsets me, is that now the company's going to go insolvent. They're going to likely sell off any assets that exist, and support will cease to exist. So if you have a BCN 3D printer and you don't have spare parts for it, you should probably get that sorted. If you don't know how to service it yourself, you should probably get that sorted, because you have now become the warranty. These are things that, to me, are very troubling in this industry, but are also indicative of what's happening, right? The SV08 Max, the fact that it's coming out as affordable as it is, proves that we're moving toward this. I need an industrial machine, but I don't have an industrial budget, and I'm willing to make those compromises to get the machine that I need for my projects. Even if it only lasts a couple of projects, I'll just get another machine. It's not that big of a deal. And companies like Sovol want to capitalize on that opportunity of a business saying, we don't really need this machine to last very long if it's only $2,000 max, right? It can last for a couple of products, then we'll just buy another one. And Sovol will make their profit margin again by selling the machine. So why would they do anything different?
Eventually, I do see the market will get rid of the chaff. So everyone loves to say competition is good for the market. It's actually not. It's surprisingly bad for the market.
It's good for the consumers.
It's only when monopolies happen does it become bad for the market, because then they can do nothing.
Yeah.
At a minimum, you just really need 2, maybe 3 competitors, and that is the best place for companies to make the best products that you want to buy, because they're still competing at the same breakneck pace, but they don't have to worry about 5 million little companies trying to bite the same bit of the pie. They get faster development because they own more. And I do feel that is probably one of the reasons why BCN died, was they only had so much of the pie that they could work with. They didn't have either the time or logistics to actively develop a next generation machine to compete with. Then you have companies like Bamboo Lab coming up, where in reality, if an engineer wants to press print and get a part, you had 2 options. You had industrial or Bamboo Labs. Anyone in this chat, I can promise you, you know more about 3D printers than most industrial 3D printer operators. Because they don't know. Their industrial machines are exceedingly hands-off.
Yes.
It is supposed to be, here's a part, you click one of 4 buttons to choose a strength value, and then the machine black magic does something up. It's why whenever a customer comes to us as Console 3D and they go, we have a Markforged, we laugh. because we are 12 times faster, not because a Markforged is a bad printer, but because they're so hands off on the slicer. A single part that's that big takes 12 hours, and well, you can tell that is not a big part. It takes at most an hour
And oh
on
yeah,
any
Markforged,
other machine.
their Mark II doesn't have a heated bed and it prints nylon. Like,
Yeah.
yes, they found a material that nylon sticks very well to. They don't really have issues with warping. If you're using a Markforged and you're just doing like CF nylon on it, you're wasting your money. If you're not using a Markforged FDM machine for continuous fiber, then you're wasting your money,
Yeah.
right?
Also, onyx is one of the worst nylon materials you can
It's
buy.
not a great.
It's just bad.
Just
Just buy generic off the shelf, and it will be
go buy
stronger
it.
and easier to print.
Go buy it from 3DX Tech. They make a clone of Onyx. Then they'll also sell you better CF nylon as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, Markforged changed the game when they came out. They were patent infringing, which has now been settled, and they were not found to be on the right side of that. But Markforged is doing a lot on the industrial side with their industrial FDM, their powdered metal, and their I think they're also doing filament-based metal. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But that actually brings me to a really good point,
mm-hmm.
which is the difference between Markforged and BCN. Markforged have developed new machines, and they're
Markforged
good.
also has a hell of a marketing department, which
Oh,
I'm
they do.
fairly
Well, that's a
certain.
good thing. They're doing their own
I'm
marketing.
fairly certain at this
BCN, I
point,
didn't think they did.
Markforge's marketing department encompasses Titans of CNC. Right? Like, Titan does so much marketing. And, like, Titan has figured out that marketing game of having a manufacturing business, being able to show what you do to some extent, and having companies say, we want you to show what you do on our machines. Here's a machine, here's a pile of money, and oh yeah, now you have extra capacity when you're not filming videos.
Yep.
So that's, yeah, there's a lot of value there.
And that is one of the developments that I see industrial companies have to adopt, is that consumer level marketing. It's all well and good that the person who buys your product is the purchasing decision factor, where they don't go on YouTube, they don't talk to engineers, they are probably in an office doing their job to spend watching funny YouTube videos or Titans of CNC to buy a machine. But as we see, if you rely on the traditional marketing methods of send a guy out on a trade show with here are marketing materials that have no reference to the rest of the industry, you will just die.
Yeah.
And you will get consumed by anyone who goes, well, maybe we shouldn't be making our own slicer and use Orca slicer because it's twice as fast. That is literally ruined certain companies in this industry where they've made their own slicer and it's ass.
I think it's currently ruining companies where, like, Creality has Creality Slicer. It's just Orca Slicer. I'm sure Sovol will
Oh,
have
I wasn't
Sovol
even
Slicer.
talking about that.
No,
I was talking about the original industrial ones where they've, because it's
right.
industrial, it needs to be an ecosystem, and then there's a marketing plan, and they spend monthly payments for their slicer, and then it's just bad because they aren't looking at what the competition is. They're just going, well, what do people need for a slicer? It's a click button and it does a thing. Whereas if they looked next, like literally to their competitors, they go, oh, they're just using the Fusion slicer now, or they're using Orca slicer, and then they don't waste their money. They stay on top of the ball, and then they actually see what the competition are doing, and they innovate. And I just see so many industrial companies not innovating where consumers have to. And eventually, that bar of quality as innovation goes up, we've seen it with nozzles. Ignore printers, just nozzles. You started with V6, and then V6 got cheaper, so it got better. And then it got cloned, so it got a little bit better. Then it became Volcano for flow rate. And then Volcano became CHT nozzles of just regular V6 or Volcano. So it got even better. So we've seen this trajectory of nozzles getting improved. And now we've got all these Bamboo Lab clones where they're 25 millimeters, 30 millimeter melt chambers, and the melt chambers are getting longer because people are realizing the thing that stops you from doing industrial level production is flow rate. And that is just on the nozzle. That's not even the machine.
Yeah.
And eventually we're going to end up in this area where a nozzle to be better than the competition either has to go hotter or higher flow or more reliable and abrasive resistant. And eventually it will keep that trajectory until it cannot get better. There will be a limit of material size, there will be a limit of power delivery. And that is that golden nugget where once you're there, you can't get better.
Right.
And if industrial thinks they are there, they are wrong because they are sitting on it going, we've made the thing and it's good enough. Whereas the consumer side, who are trying to nickel and dime everything to earn that penny, are just getting everything so much nicer because they have to. And that's why we're now seeing nozzles. Like, I promise you, take apart a bamboo lab, look at the nozzle, go to a Stratasys, take apart the nozzle, and realize, holy shit, the Bamboo Lab is leaps and bounds more engineering
Oh, dude, the
quality, design,
V6,
service.
the V6 was better than anything Stratasys has put out, and you
Yeah,
can get a legit V6 for less than one nozzle for a Stratasys printer.
yep. Hell, you can get a legit Bamboo Lab like expensive version hot end for less than a Stratasys nozzle.
Oh yeah.
And that is where those little chips of industry get consumed. Like, if your limit was I needed to print carbon fiber nylon effectively, which was the main reason people bought a Stratasys at the day, because peak wasn't really that common at the time. Well, you can print carbon fiber nylon on pretty much any consumer printer nowadays. There's no downside to that.
You just
Like, if it's
need
got a chamber, heck, it doesn't even need a chamber. If it's got a box,
yeah,
a cardboard box, it will print carbon fiber nylon with pretty much no issues.
you just need a hardened nozzle, hardened extruder gears, and you're set.
Yeah.
You're set.
I know companies that have gone from 2 Stratasys machines to a fleet of 200 Prusas
Yep.
because they realized, oh wait, if all we're printing is biodegradable PLA from a specific brand, and we bought the Stratasys because they had that brand, it's PLA. It prints like butter on every other machine. Why don't you just buy every other machine? And they saved tons of money. They made their throughput 1,000 times more. They
Yep.
have redundancy, and their entire company's moving over to Prusas. And then the Prusa Mark IV came out, and they were like, you know what? It's still better than industrial. So I do see the market is going to shrink drastically as
Yes.
consumers get better. Industry will die unless they do what consumers can't do, which is high temp safety critical parts, because that will be the difference between consumer and industrial, is just
It's the
what materials can
certs.
you run
Yeah.
and what certs are you willing to put in, because I can promise you Sovol are not going to be paying for UL testing.
No.
That's like
No.
half of their yearly income in one test, and then they cannot change the machine. If you
UL,
think UL is a good thing, it's kind of a racket, because
it's a
every time
racket.
you change anything, you have to pay them again to
Yep.
change it.
And oh
Full
yeah,
price, no discount.
you're talking around 30K per part.
Yep.
So, and what a lot of companies will do is they'll use UL approved manufacturing, and the manufacturers are UL approved, but then the products are being assembled, and while they technically abide by UL standards, they can get that UL listed sticker, it's not there. But I can get into my experiences with UL. Like, I've got emails from them and bills from them when I had a day job of just, we made one critical error at my day job, and it costs like $35,000.
Yep.
And the error was putting the machinery on the on the engineering drawings that we sent for the CO. I don't know why the architect did it. Like, most people know better than to do this, but they did it. And so for the CO, we now needed to have all the equipment. Well, that's certificate of occupancy for those that are wondering what I'm saying when I say CO. And oh yeah, the town that we were in has an old law from years ago that states that all machinery must be UL listed, which is one hell of a challenge. And we'd already gotten a lot of the machinery delivered. We had no idea about this law. This law was made in the 1970s because a Coca-Cola bottling plant caught fire, or some plant caught fire, and people died. So they said, how do we solve this? We solve it with UL. Well, UL's become, unfortunately, in my personal opinion, a bit of a racket.
Yep.
And it has created a market where if those laws exist, like if you're going to buy a building or you're going to rent a building and put machinery in it, check your laws to make sure that you don't have this problem, because a fire inspector that just doesn't like you can and will shut your operation down indefinitely until you fix it. That is game ending for a lot of companies. And it was almost game ending for my day job when I had a day job. I no longer have a day job. I had a day job in 5 years. But to be clear, it was an oh shit moment. And
Yep.
we actively want to avoid those in business, because especially if you're brand new and you don't have the funding that this facility did, a 30 grand surprise, shut the doors. It's not even worth it, because most businesses don't have 30 grand to light on fire, especially the new ones. So check your local laws. You'll find some weird stuff too. So just be careful. So do we think that the deaths of, well, I'm going to go with open builds. Why do we think open builds failed?
I think open builds is slightly different to the market shrinking because quality of machines is going up.
Yeah, because they just sell
The
parts,
amount of
they don't sell
makers,
machines.
yeah, the amount of makers hasn't changed. It really hasn't, because the maker will always be a maker. The attributing the death of a maker-based company to Bamboo Labs, I do find disingenuous, because it's not Bamboo Labs' fault. Bamboo Labs isn't targeting the person who likes building their machine. They're targeting the person who wants a machine.
Right.
And they're different markets. But I do think the maker community has shifted a lot more to overseas production, where you can get a linear rail for $8.
And a
And
good one
the
for
good
$8.
yeah, like
Yeah,
the
you're not,
quality of overseas parts has overtaken any local manufacturer you can possibly imagine.
and like you're getting, like, THK will sell you a rail that is 99.9% that of Highwind. So from a business perspective, and for 0.999% of the price, like, why would you spend the money on a Highwind rail other than to have the marketing that we're using Highwind rails on a project? The answer is you wouldn't.
You don't.
As an average maker, you don't. I think that open builds is actually going out more politically than anything. Most of the stuff from open builds comes from overseas, and with tariffs being the way that they are, whether it's one day we've got them, the next day we don't, you're literally playing, hopscotch as to whether or not you're going to be paying 200% or whatever the hell it was or is, or God knows what it is right now, on your product, and you can't afford to pass along the savings to the customer, because they'll just buy direct from the manufacturers.
Yep. And I will also say I've noticed the other aspect is the maker has become smarter. Just in general, like with the equipment that is now available to them, like Send Cut Send or PCBWay, where you can now get custom-made metal or custom-made plastic.
To be fair, those are very different. Send Cut Send is made in America. PCBWay is not. Right? So those are vastly different.
But the aspect is just access.
Yeah, what they
access.
provide. Dude, we had someone come to us for some sheet metal stuff, and they're like, "Can you do this?" I said, "Yeah, but just go to Send Cut Send, dude. Like, they're going to charge you way less than we're going to charge you. They're going to do it faster than we're going to be able to do it. And they're going to provide you a more, like, let's go with concise, expected experience than we could, because it's not our deal, right?" And that's why companies like PCBWay are investing heavily into content creators, because Where do people go these days? They go to Google and they look for what can they, how to do sheet metal parts, or they look for 3D printing near me. And if you
Mm,
hear someone like, let's use Joel because he's heavily sponsored by PCBWay. If you hear Joel talking about PCBWay that says, oh, you can just go get high-end metal powder 3D printing from PCBWay, you can get PCBs made from them, you can get all these other things made from them. Why would you look at buying a machine yourself when you have this service company that makes it easy for you to not deal with the
mm,
BS? And a lot of companies will gladly choose the slightly more expensive route to pay somebody else to do it for them. As long as they're not playing an ITAR, then they have to go through other things, but let's assume they're not. They'll gladly pay the premium to have somebody else do it for them, especially when it's a Chinese premium, which is not very high over what you're going to pay in the United States, even with tariffs, to not deal with the BS. Companies like PCBWay, JLC, and others have figured out that consumers in general hate any friction when it comes to spending their money. So if you make it easy for people to make things, they will make things with you.
yep.
It's that simple.
It's all about ease of access.
Yep.
And what OpenBuilds prided themselves on was it's a modular system. You could build anything. You want a printer, slap some aluminium together, put some V wheels on it and a motor, and you've got a motion gantry that is fairly good.
Yep.
But what I've noticed is as makers have become smarter, because they've gone from Lego clicking things together open build style to, oh, I can just for a couple of quid extra get a custom made laser cut piece of metal that does exactly what I need for my specific project. They transferred over to that, and now they're doing metal forming, they're doing injection molding, they're doing resin printed parts just overseas sent over or locally. And that has been quite a paradigm shift with the maker is the projects we do are more complicated
Yep.
now. Where imagine the original hotends. Like CAD really hasn't improved that much other than
Its
the
user
veneer of
experience
it.
kind of has. Yeah, the veneer of
Yeah.
it.
But CAD hasn't gotten that much better. If you could have thought it, you could have designed it. But if you look back to when I don't know, the Gen 2, like the Prusa Mark II level of printers, the hot end designs were fairly bricky. They were very, and it was that. And
I mean, literally the
that isn't
V6.
because,
The V6 is still kind of bricky.
I mean, yeah, like even like the cooling part, the heat sink, it was
Yeah.
just get a metal tube, mill some slots into it, turn it, and it's done. And that was it.
I always
But
wonder
nowadays,
I always wonder for this if the heatsink height was because that was the size of fan they chose. Always
I
wonder.
think it was.
Because
There's so many fins there. You only need 4 fins.
yeah, we now know that you don't need anywhere near this amount of fins to cool a hot end like this. So I wonder because like, or it was like a milling thing, like were a lathe thing. Uh, that's a joke that only
A
like
turning
three
thing.
people in our company are going to get because that's a very internal joke. But was this because their lathes were able to do parts this big and that was it? Like, did they
Yeah.
not use Swiss lathes? And there are so many questions that we look back to where we just assumed that this is what was required. When in
Mm.
reality, a lot of this was because this made sense and was easier to manufacture. And
Mm.
and while yes, as Maker's Corner says, it looks cooler. Yeah, this does look super cool. Um, it is hyper inefficient when you compare it to the modern day hot ends that the entire hot end weighs less than the heat sink of this does. And they're able to go well beyond the temperature ratings of this in a much safer manner. Like, it's crazy to see how far we've come in 7 to 10 years. Uh,
Yep.
and how even companies like E3D have maintained a level of we will continue to do better to provide you as the consumer with better products.
Mm. Like, and that's one of the other big changes I've seen is as technology got better, the maker did more. So, take the heatsink again. If a maker wanted to do that's going to be a clip, I know that already. Thermal analysis of, oh, you're clipping it, aren't you? Oh, god
Absolutely, I'm
damn it.
clipping it. When you say that's gonna be a clip, now I have to click the button. Like, to be clear,
Um,
like
but yeah,
you don't get away with saying, "Oh well, that's gonna be a clip," and I don't click the button, buddy.
so even that's going to be a clip now.
Well, they're 2-minute clips, so
Oh,
that entire thing was a clip.
oh, great. But no, like I can't do it. Thermal
Thermodynamics.
analysis,
Oh,
thermal
thermoanalysis.
analysis, and fluid dynamics are things makers didn't have access to.
God no.
It was one of those things that it's a big military industry. That's it. Don't even consider it. Nowadays, you've got in-browser solutions for that for free that you
Onshape.
can access.
Yeah.
Yeah, that are they going to be as good as an ANSYS thing? No. Should you be
They're
using
pretty
ANSYS
damn
for this
good.
level of stuff? No.
Yep.
Don't use ANSYS for this level of stuff. It's not worth it. But you can do it now. And previously you didn't. So now we're getting better like analysis of parts. We can simulate parts. We are opening up what you can manufacture. It's not just I have a 3D printer, it has to all be 3D printed, though even that's getting very advanced. We can go to PCBWay and get metal 3D printing within 5-day delivery.
Yep.
You can go to Send Cut Send and you can get a custom whatever thickness, grade, quality you want laser cut thing sent to you. And all of a sudden, design has exploded. And I see that is one of the reasons why open build has died. You are not buying a universal plate with 4 wheels to put on a gantry when you are just designing the plate yourself.
You don't need to. I mean, like, so open builds, they had the X carve, right? Was that open builds? I think it
Yeah.
was.
No.
They sold it. It was Inventables. Inventables had the X carve, but they sold it. And it was mostly made with open build stuff. There are so many other gantry routers on the market right now that are as good, if not better. It's yeah, that's tough. I think open builds is more likely a political thing, that it just doesn't make sense for them to play the game of trying to maintain inventory. It's easier for them to shut down. And whether they come back or not, we will see. Right?
I don't think that'll come back.
I do really wish that we had the opportunity to film with them. I was begging them to film.
It's
I'm
such
like,
a shame
guys, you're
because they
in my
were a
backyard.
pillar. They literally were a pillar of what made this industry what it is today. And seeing it die and crumble is such a shame, but I do think it was inevitable.
Like it's
the entire ethos of opening up everything to being modular and easily copyable and clonable does come with that bullet loaded in the chamber of eventually the pressure builds up and the trigger gets pulled. If you give out everything, there is no reason somebody isn't going to take it and go, well, I live in India's manufacturing district that can do it for 1% the price without sacrificing the quality. I'm just going to do that and upcharge. And then all of a sudden, you move there.
Yep.
Because that's what you do. It is a shame, but I do think it was inevitable.
It's open builds to me is like the Joannes of the maker world, right? Like everybody used them back in the day, but as it got easier to buy things online, less people used open builds. Now that they're going out of business, people are like, no, they can't go. You never used them to begin with, right? You hate to see the option go away. And a lot of you are going to do the exact same thing Amber is doing, buying as much inventory as your wallet will handle. And you're going to keep it and say, I need it for a rainy day. Whether you will use it or not, that's still to be seen. I think open builds had an opportunity to survive. It would have likely been to release machinery, like kits, basically turn into a LDO, but a USA-based LDO. Do a lot of you know why Sears failed?
I don't actually know what Sears is. I'm assuming American chain.
American department store. Or was an American.
Oh no, I do know what that is. Yeah, it was global. Yeah, I do know what that was.
Yeah, they were global, and they had wasn't Radio Shack the Radio Shack of the maker world, Doug says. Yeah, he's right. Radio Shack, same way. They had the opportunity to pivot, and they chose not to. So they died. they wasted money on Kmart. That's true, Sears did. But Sears had the distribution network that Amazon can only dream of. They had a major department store with hundreds of thousands of square feet of inventory in every major city and quite a few minor cities across the United States. And it meant that if you wanted to get something from Sears, you could go to their catalog, buy it, and pick it up in store. Do you notice the thing that I missed?
In store.
Yeah, you had to go in store. Eventually, Sears made the shift that you could buy stuff and get it delivered online. But Sears had the network. All the shipping companies, they could have easily used UPS the same way that Amazon did when they first started. Now Amazon is vertically integrating and they're becoming more of a distribution and logistics company than they are a online retailer, which is fair. Amazon was always a logistics company hiding behind an online retailer. Sears already had all of the logistics figured out. They delivered their catalog to every home in America, basically. If you were within 40 miles of a Sears catalog showed up at your door on a regular basis. They had every ability to become the new Amazon, and they didn't believe in online retail. So what did they do? They purchased Kmart, which I know is a thing outside of the US, like in Australia, Kmart is still a thing. It's a completely different, like, name, it's the same name, but it's a different company. But Kmart was like it was like a redneck Walmart, kind of. Like it, I say that, but like my local Kmart was so cool. They had a cafe, and on Sundays they would do all you could eat pancakes. And like when I was in college, that was a good deal, my dude. Like,
I would sign up for that.
That was great. Yeah. But Sears decided that they were going to invest heavily in like people leaving their houses and, you know, going out and buying stuff in person. And they didn't think that the convenience of buying things online would be something that people would enjoy, that they would want to get out and ask questions. Because I don't think they really understood how much online reviews, and online reviewers for that matter, can influence the buying potentials of a consumer market. They missed out on that. Now, you can still find a Sears here and there in the United States, but the vast company itself is gone. You used to be able to buy some of the weirdest stuff. I have a rifle made by Sears and Roebuck. Right? They used to make firearms. You used to be able to buy houses. Hell, at one point, you could buy tapeworms.
So, what?
Yep. Weight loss.
I'm just gonna let that slide.
They sold it. It was a weight loss. It was a weight loss thing. You could buy tapeworms from Sears as a way to lose weight. At least I'm fairly certain it was Sears.
Here's your tapeworm. You can give him a name, and then you can keep him with you.
Yeah.
You can walk him like a pet.
Well, he'll just be inside.
But you have to walk yourself.
Yeah. It's kind of gross. I mean, it does work, to be clear. You will lose a lot of weight with a tapeworm. But it's not for a good reason. Apparently they sold the Thompson machine gun from the catalog until 1968. America. Now, if that's not the most American thing that exists, where you're able to buy a submachine gun out of a freaking catalog, I don't know what's more American, because you could probably get an apple pie delivered with it too. But yeah, you could order a kit house from them that was basically like an IKEA flat pack kit house from Sears, and you could build it, and you had an actual house.
And
it was
pretty impressive.
Cheap. It was even cheap by today's
That's pretty impressive.
Standards. Like, even with inflation, it's still cheap. And as Mad Cat says, the 19th century, I think you mean the 20th century, because the 19th century would have been the 1800s, but fine. Sears was the only place to get many things. I remember going to Sears. I remember when Sears bought the local Kmart, turned it into a Sears. Then it closed and turned into a Sweet Bay, I think, for a bit, which is a supermarket that was then bought by Winn-Dixie, another supermarket chain. They closed it since there was a Winn-Dixie nearby. And now there's a Rural King there. Oh, apparently you could buy from the Sears catalog in the 1800s. The more you know.
The more you know.
I wasn't alive in the 1800s to tell you that, and it was shipped by rail. Yeah, Sears had distribution figured out. But they didn't take that initiative, right? Netflix started with delivering DVDs and Blu-rays to your home via the mail. They pivoted to become a streaming service. Redbox, you went to a Redbox to buy a DVD and then you had to go and return it. They didn't pivot to digital, so they died. Right? Business is about remaining fluid. Yes, a business that is not hyper-focused on an end goal, whatever that end goal is destined to fail. If you have a target market and you are not like going after them like a sniper, then with a laser focus, you have a laser focus to be a business owner. If you're not laser focused on growing the company and moving to the next stage, you're not going to. And if you're not in that laser focus, also looking around you, having situational awareness for what's going on around you while you're also laser focused, or at least listening to people that have situational awareness, you are going to fail. You're going to miss your shot. Because by the time that round reaches the target is no longer there. They're no longer there. We're seeing department stores fail over and over and over again because they're refusing to adapt to modern standards. Companies in this industry will fall to the exact same fate if they refuse to maintain modern standards. And that includes companies like Prusa. If Prusa cannot maintain an ability to innovate, they will fail. Now, they're a big company. It's going to take a lot for them to fail, but they can fail. Many people said Sears would never die, and here we are. Sears is no longer with us.
And it's not always going to be as obvious as digital transformation when we went from offline to online sales, for example. That is a very obvious transition point. If they didn't do it, they died. But we're now in this post-modern society where we do have a lot of these things already in place. So now what will be the next generation that you have to stay up on top of will be much smaller.
Yes.
And it could be something as simple as having a touch screen versus a knob, or it could be as simple as it's a heated chamber for a regular printer. Like if regular printers, like take the Centauri Carbon or any of the Bamboo Lab enclosed machines, if they all came with the 25 quid heated chamber, that already puts them above everyone else. That's competition because other people now have to keep up with it. That is the innovation. It's so much smaller than they went online and they shipped things. Like,
dude, I'm literally returning my Q1 Pros from GD Tech. One, they actually have the same issue that my first Q1 Pro does, so I'm like, I'm done with this, I'm not dealing with it. But two, they're not much bigger than the Plus 4. They're like $80 or $90 more expensive than a Centauri Carbon, and I could put a chamber heater inside of a Centauri Carbon and not care. And the Centauri Carbon is bigger in every axis than a Q1 Pro.
Yeah.
And like,
it'll be those innovations that hold other companies back, and if they don't update, they will die. It's like, how many printers nowadays have filament sensors?
All of them.
All of them.
Well, okay.
And if you don't have the ability to have one, you've not been paying attention.
Yep.
Like there's a time and a place not to have a filament sensor, and there's a time and place to support a filament sensor. But there's a reason all the base machines nowadays come with filament sensors. It's why everyone moved over to AC powered beds instead of DC powered beds. Obviously, there's a couple of outliers, but it's because of ease of manufacture. It's the heat output. Like everybody is slowly innovating on the small bits, and that's what keeps them up to date. If you look back 10 years ago, you will notice how much has changed. But if you look 1 year from now, you probably won't notice it. And that rate of improvement is a diminishing cycle. Eventually, it will peak.
Yep.
But until then, companies have to still climb the ladder. And how it could be cable chains. That's one we've seen quite recently. Pretty much most printers come with cable chains.
Or just going to CAN bus and not dealing with cable chains. I have cable chains, but like passing the Bowden tube through the cable chain is a cool thing now, right? Like it's the cool thing. Everybody's doing it, so everyone copies it. Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. Look at the SV08 Max does it really, really weirdly. But
I like
the
that one.
SV08 Max took a cue from Bamboo's book, and they have a first stage feeder. So they have an auxiliary feeder so that the extruder doesn't have to work as hard.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
And I would not surprise me if that becomes the next generation of innovation that companies copy, is they realize filament feeding has an impact on print quality.
Yep.
Add a cheap motor that just pre-feeds, done.
With a buffer system that it's a buffer system on a spring that closes a contact that tells you, oh, okay, we need to extrude filament.
Push more.
Yeah. Yep. And then when the thing is broken, you extrude for another 5 seconds and you're done. Right? Like, it's one of those things that none of us ever thought of because we never needed it. Now, all of a sudden, we have it. We're like, crap, how do I live without it? That is what innovation looks like. Innovation is where you don't even remember why you need it. But now, because it's become something that is so normal and real and just something that's part of your life, you have to have it.
Here's a great one. I just thought of the beacon.
Yeah, eddy current
that will be the next one. If in 4 years' time every printer does not have a beacon, you have to question legitimately why.
Yeah, like, if they're not, well,
because it's a usability thing. It's not even the software or the improvement or the fact it does nozzle probing as well as scanning. It's the usability of it. It can bed level it in 20 seconds instead of 5 minutes.
You know, but having what is it? What does Clipper call the adaptive? Is it Kahlua? What the hell's the?
Are you talking about adaptive meshing?
Camp. Clipper adaptive mesh probing. Yes, camp. I don't mind if you're doing something like a camp, or like how Prusa does it, the same kind of way where you're only probing certain areas. I don't mind that. However, my preference is eddy current sensors. And I say that is I don't have eddy machines with them, right? I don't necessarily mind as a business if the parts take 5 extra minutes. Hell, have it take an extra hour. While I do want a guarantee, I'm not willing to sacrifice part quality for speed. We've talked about this before, where, you know, companies are pushing these 50 cubic millimeter a second hot ends, but I would rather run my machines a little bit slower, get a better quality part out of them, and not risk the part strength and issues like that. This, to me, is a better value overall for what I want as a business. You as a consumer might say, I want faster machines. I don't care. I can change other things. I say I want a machine with a very well-tuned profile that is running at like 60 to 75% of the machine's capability when it gets delivered to me. If I want to make it run faster, I want the ability to make it run faster, but I want a factory-tuned profile that I can click print, and I'm going to get an absolutely beautiful print with no issues, no anything. And as funny as that is way harder to find these days than people think. Yes, Bamboo gives you a decent profile, but they have issues. I think the exterior perimeters are way too damn fast. The
Oh, they are. It's because it looks good and it makes you think it's good.
right. The Prusa Core
And
1.
that is part of the issue is perception of quality versus actual quality. And I see it quite a lot. There's this
Yes.
shift in marketing where
Perception
they
of
would
quality
rather,
equals speed.
yeah, it's well, all of marketing spiel is you read the marketing and you are supposed to take from it that this is good product. It
Yes.
is quality. Because at the end of the day, the user just wants reliable, good
That's all
experience.
they
They
want.
don't care how they get it.
That's right.
And marketing's job is to sell you that you will get good, reliable experience by buying their product. So you end up with seeing this almost arms race of numbers and tech
Yeah, bigger
spiel
number better.
and anything to prove to you that they've made it better than the last one, because being better is better and it means it's more reliable and it feels better.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you're getting it.
Right.
And that perception that you're getting it is sometimes the only thing they care about, and it does wind me up a bit. Like, that's my own personal
No,
vibe,
it
is
winds me
I
up too.
hate marketing because marketing is now an absolute lie in our industry.
Yeah, it literally just becomes who can get the closest to actually lying
Mm,
possible without actually lying.
yeah.
Um, Christopher Elliott says, my father always said perception is reality. I saw earlier that Nepo said that Robin said hi. She was walking by. Hello, Robin. Um, yeah, I believe that as a community, we have been taken by the marketers, and we care a lot less about what should matter, and we care a lot more about bigger number better. Right? Like,
Mm,
I'm excited for the SV08 Max because, like, I have a legitimate use case for a big printer. I don't care about the speed. At some point I will, but I have a legitimate use case for a big, reasonably reliable 3D printer, right? We do some big parts for some clients that I currently have to cut up. Even on our biggest machines, I have to cut them up. Having a machine that can do bigger parts means I either have to do less cutting or no cutting. And I like
mm.
both of those things better. Right? Christopher Elliott says, remember the megahertz war of the PC world. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Like, geez. Like, I'm on
It,
a
it,
hmm,
do you know how to find it?
what?
What you're looking for? I think I know what you're looking for.
No.
Your processor speed?
Oh,
Is that what you're
I'm
looking
on a
for?
10700K.
And your gigahertz?
Oh, it's overclocked right now. But it's running base speed 3.79. It's currently hanging out just under 4 gigahertz all core clock. Or
Yeah.
sorry,
So like
just under 5 gigahertz all core clock, excuse me.
oh, there you go. You got to round it up. But no, like I'm running a
Okay,
7950X with 5 gigahertz.
4.98 gigahertz is almost 5, okay?
It's almost 5.
Thank you.
Yeah. 6.9 is almost 7.
Yes! Technically it is!
But the point being, like, nowadays, honestly, clock speed doesn't matter.
No.
And it's the same with all this marketing speed. It's like, okay, let's take the SV08, for example. They advertise 5106 stepper drivers, I think. I hope I'm not hallucinating that, but 5106 stepper drivers. That makes you tingle. It's like, oh, they're the big industrial stepper motors that can do anything and they're really powerful and they're great. It's a step up from the last one. And that is marketing bullshit, because in reality, the user experience did not change. 2209s, really old stepper drivers, or 2240s, they will do the same job. They move the motor. There's no quality improvement. There's no extra spec you need. The motors are overmatched for what you need anyway. But part of the marketing is 5106, big number better. And it is kind of sad to see because it makes marketing for everyone
Well,
disingenuous.
I will say there are some benefits to different stepper motor drivers, right? Different drivers do different things. They offer better stealth chopping and things like that. So there are reasons that we moved away
Mm.
from the Allegro 4988s, okay? Like, there are reasons we moved away from those old school, you were lucky if you got 32-bit or 64-bit micro stepping kind of thing. Yeah. Also, Soundspark said, is it just running Boost 2.0 speeds? No, it's not. So It technically can boost higher than 5, but I don't allow it to. It is currently an. I have the turbo boost frequency turned up to allow it to boost up to a little over 5, but it never really gets there because it ends up getting a little too warm. I have it start to thermal throttle at 75C. Even though it won't until...
That's really low.
I know. I don't want it to get warm.
Why?
The cooler that you keep it, the better your overclock will be, and the longer you'll get stability for.
Debatable. So the reason I like to debate it is, again, this is perception of reality is reality. Laptop
Some
CPUs,
people say to run
what temperature do they throttle at?
Oh, God.
99. 99.
Yep.
Like, the silicon only gets damaged past 105.
It's too close.
And that's it.
It's
like,
too close.
It's why I will always buy X mining hardware from, like, Bitcoin mining, because the thing that actually causes damage is thermal cycling, not it staying hot. It's the thermal damage as it shrinks and cools over and over again. And you know what doesn't do thermal cycling?
Bitcoin mining.
Bitcoin.
Yeah,
because it's at 100%.
Always running.
100% of the time.
The thing to point out there, though, is if you do go buy old mining hardware, change out the thermal paste. Just go ahead and do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Clean them down.
Oh, yeah. A lot of actually, all of the GPUs that we use in the shop are used. We use 1080 Ti's on everything. And yeah, every single one of them is bought from Reddit. For the Win 3s, EVGA, God rest your soul.
Yeah.
Just the normal things in life, if you will. But, I wonder what will be kind of the next thing. I mean, I think I know what it is. I think it's inductive heating. Like, I think the Index is going to be the next big thing in the industry. It's going to be at Murph. Very excited for more people to see it. And I think we're going to see a lot of companies that are just going to release motion platforms that fit the Index.
Okay, I'm going to be a bit contrarian to what I've said in like 6 other streams where I've been saying Index is the next big thing.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Index is going to be the next big thing.
Is it because
I think it's going to be its own parallel thing. I think the
know.
Index line is starting a new type of filament-based 3D printers.
Is it just the inductive side of it?
Yeah. I think the Index line is its own separate branch now. It's not a traditional FDM 3D printer, it's an Index 3D printer. And I think they are going to differentiate and separate that way, because Index allows easy tool changing, super fast heat up, super fast cooldowns.
Right.
It has a load of benefits, but new complications that haven't been identified yet. Whereas standard printers are block of metal, get hot, push plastic, machine go fast. And that is the big difference. And I don't know if they are going to merge into this unified filament printing as a whole, or they're going to separate further, where filament changing and multi-material on a filament printer is still icky, like Bamboo Lab or the Prusa tool changer style, or Index fixes that. So if you want multi-material, you go Index style. But there are other things, like how many differentiations are there between nozzles in the filament side? You've got the Bamboo Lab style, the extra long length, the extra short length, the fin standard coming out.
Just go to Diamondback or go to Micro Swiss and see all the nozzles they have on display.
Exactly.
There are reasons for it. There's lots of options.
Like, if you want to make a hot end for your use case, you can do that. Like, you can choose an exact length and get a hot end made for that length, or that extruder push force and all of that. And that is a very powerful tool for an industry to have, is a unified, industry generally prints one material 24/7. It's carbon fiber nylon or carbon fiber ABS, or pretty much carbon fiber, whatever base polymer you want to insert here, yada, yada. But they will only print that for most of their industrial lifetime, is that one material on repeat. Index is the opposite of that. Index is making other materials better. It shines in multi-material and ease of tool swapping or nozzle swapping for diameters. It's different,
but even
in
as
a way that isn't used at the moment.
Even as a single, remove the changing of the nozzles, right? The the filament carrier, if you will. What if it's just inductive heating becomes the new thing? Because while it is inefficient, it's also efficient because of the values that it can bring in the slicer, like the ability to, heat up and cool down your filament insanely fast, to play with those different temperatures for different things, like what we talked about before. I think the inductive side of Index is going to be more
A lot
industry
more
changing.
interesting.
Yeah, it's like a lot of companies are coming out with tool changer styles. There's a lot of community side for tool changer styles as well. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere, but as we're seeing, the integration for it is difficult because most people are going for real, full, electrically controlled tool heads. Index changes that, obviously, but there are some people that are like, I don't really need multi-material. I just need a single head, and I don't need that big carriage system because I only need a single head. And I think we're going to see that getting adopted by non-Chinese manufacturers. There might be some that make it Index compatible. Sovol, if you don't do that, you're out of your mind, basically. But there are opportunities in the consumer market for the technology out of Index to change the future of the industry, and I think it does come down to the heating. And we talked about this privately a little bit too, but real quick, I want to thank Beard Apparent for the 5 gifted memberships. Bill Price, Joseph Greiner, FF, OG Payne, The Dad, all got memberships. And he also donated $5 saying, good old 1080 Ti, such an amazing GPU. You damn straight. It's what's been running this channel since pretty much its inception. Gotta love those multiple NVENC encoders so I can do all the recording and streaming that we have right now. That is also why there's a little bit of hitching from time to time, because it is a 1080 Ti and it's a little old.
It's a 1080 Ti, and brother, she's getting tired.
I have a spare. I have a hot spare ready to go.
The annoying thing is Nvidia still haven't come out with an actual replacement that makes me go, oh yeah, we can go from 1080 Ti to this. I'm like, they really knocked out.
No, they really haven't. No, they realized they screwed up with how good the 1080 Ti was, and I'm not going to go down this path. If you want to go down the path, we can talk about it.
This is for the after stream.
Yeah, this is for after the show. But, yeah, it is one of those times where we're looking at innovation and saying, how will this change the future of the industry? And hilariously, for the first time in a long time, the limiting factor right now is not hardware. It's not even close to being the hardware. It's the software. We are software limited right now. The benefits of something like the Index trickling into other things, like imagine a Bamboo with an Index, or realistically, a Bamboo that can heat up and cool down in 4 seconds, right? The amount of things that a company with the engineering control that Bamboo has could do with technology like that to move the slicing industry forward be nuts. Would be absolutely nuts.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the one thing that I've noticed for a while, and it's sad because it's the reason Simplify 3D just doesn't exist anymore.
They were so good back in the day.
Where has slicer innovation come from? The software side.
Open source.
It's open source.
Open source, baby.
Like every new piece of improvement has been from the open source. Hell, like the bricklayer thing, which Stefan
he just put a video out. I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
Very good.
That's good.
Highly recommend
it. Of course, it's a CNC Kitchen video. Of course,
it highlights why the community is so good. Is some guy found a patent, decided to say, screw it, let's do it anyway. Stefan made a video, and then within like a month and a bit, we've got a official Orca slicer, like semi-official integration, which is just a tick box, and it works. And we're not seeing that level of development out of big industry. Like Stratasys is not improving their slicer
they don't care
to the same level Orca slicer is, because they don't care. And we're not seeing anything that isn't nowadays just use Orca Slicer because it's the best.
Yep.
And it's because of the community. And it's kind of sad. Like, we don't have an Apple of, well, the closest to Apple is Bamboo Lab.
It's Bamboo.
But we don't see Bamboo Lab improving their slicer. We see Bamboo Lab taking slicer improvements from Orca, Prusa, and Cura to make Bamboo. And they're constantly now behind the line. And
now,
I
yes,
do see that as an issue.
When they first launched, they were doing some innovation. Bamboo seems to be more focused on user friendliness of their website. They just brought out a Lightbox thing, and they're working on making Maker World more user friendly, more of that click, print, go scenario, and they've let go more of the slicer improvements because, I mean, honestly, right now their slicer is good enough. Bamboo Studio is good enough. And yes, it is behind, but it's good enough for what most Bamboo users need and what their target audience is. Their target audience doesn't even want to use a slicer, let alone do anything, you know, like understand the things that go into it. They just want to be able to click, print, go. And that's fine. They're greatly capturing that audience. A+ to their marketing team, and A+ to the millions of dollars of venture capital funding from IDG that has made all of this possible and has steamrolled companies that have been bootstrapped for over a decade, right? But understand that investment capital, and especially private equity, isn't always puppy dogs and rainbows. Southwest Airlines. You know what they just did, right?
Only partially. I don't know the full story.
So, and North America's longest standing company, like, survived hundreds of years, sold to private equity 10 years ago, filed for bankruptcy. It is the I forget what it's called. It's the largest company in North America.
I knew they sold to private equity,
yes,
which was already insulting.
Southwest
didn't know they've just filed for bankruptcy.
No,
so
Southwest has not. Southwest has not.
Oh,
it is a different company. I was reading about private equity, and there were talks about how this company in Canada that was massive, like has been around since the 1300s level of massive. Just an insane company. Private equity 10 years ago filed for bankruptcy. Like, tens of thousands of people gone. Private equity and VC means you no longer have control over what you're doing, and you're beholden to other people. It's why, like, companies like 3D Musketeers and so far Construct 3D have not taken venture capital or private equity money, because then we're not able to make our own decisions, right? We're not able to be the companies that we want to be. Southwest Airlines took private equity money. So what's happened? The one big benefit of why you flew Southwest, well, the two free checked bags, didn't pay a dime for them, 50 pounds each, 23 kilos each, free. And no assigned seats. You could pay for priority boarding, but there were still no assigned seats. You just sat wherever you wanted. If you wanted to be in the back of the plane, go sit in the back of the plane. If you wanted to be in the front, pay for priority boarding. Now, no free check bags, pay for seats, or you get a randomized seat assignment, and you might not be with the people that you booked your tickets with. Private, and it's going. I'm following Southwest stock at the moment. I'm very curious to see how bad their stock falls, because what private equity tends to do is squeeze all the blood they can out of the company and then sell it for pennies on the dollar. This is what private equity does. We've seen it time and time again. So when we look at what companies like Bamboo and others that have taken money from investment firms, these investment firms at some point, likely, want an out. They want to make their money back. So how do they do it? Do they sell the assets of the company? Do they sell the data? How do they make their money back? Because let's be honest, if you watch Adam Vector 3D's teardown at the H2D, That is way more than a $2,000 printer.
Yeah, they are not making their money off the machine.
No, there's no chance. And if they are, prove it. Because there is no chance they are. And I'm not a manufacturing expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm also not a moron. There is so much engineering and manufacturing that goes into those machines. It's more than $2,000. It has to be more than $2,000.
I mean,
it's not.
2000 I could understand if there was no development costs, no technological
It's just a
investment
bigger
costs.
X1 carbon. I could understand 2,000.
Yeah,
It's
and
more
then
than that.
even with that, it's still, I don't see it being that price.
Yep.
And then there's development costs and infrastructure costs and logistical costs and admin overhead, and they just do not seem to be reflected in that machine.
Yep.
And it's the same thing as what we've just been talking about. It's weird.
It is weird. Lucky 13 Toys, Gabe Sousaphone, said, when I removed my stuff from Maker World, I got tons of messages from people who didn't know how to print anything without Bamboo handy. Yeah. I mean, that is the challenge. And as a designer, right, that's a risk. Brother, that's a hell of a risk. To say you can only find my stuff here. And people have, like, okay, every single site has done this. Printables has done it. Maker World's done it. Cults has done it. They all do it, right? Thangs has done it. We'll give you added benefits to going strictly with us, right? You as a creator are limiting your exposure potential. Now, I would argue that the Lucky 13 model, or the Dummy 13 model, is the most popular 3D model of the modern era. Right? I can't say the 21st century because
Benchy still exists.
Yeah, Benchy still exists. But I would say the last few years, since it came out, it's probably been more popular than the Benchy. But at the same time, and Gabe and I discussed this on an interview, which you guys will see from Rocky Mountain at some point soon, that he made a mistake, kind of. It's a hindsight mistake of fully open sourcing Dummy 13 and providing, well, not open sourcing, providing it with a free license, right? A commercial license. And so there's all these copies and clones of it that are now getting injection molded. And so there's been a lot of this pain, if you will, associated with what the future looks like, because he's lost out on a lot of revenue. Right? And as a business, that sucks, but he's also the de facto standard now for ball and socket models. So success? Maybe, just not the financial type, which is the type that all of us want initially. He said he replies, all of hobby 3D printing is the 21st century. Yeah. Leave us old timers alone, damn it. 3D printing's been around longer than I've been.
3D printing's been around a lot longer than people assume. And that's because big industry never innovated once they got to a certain standard.
That's right. And so I think we're going to see this continued push from consumer grade machines into the small business and light industrial space.
Yep.
I mean, literally machines from Construct 3D, Luke's Laboratory, and others that are these like bespoke manufacturers of high-end machines. You're competing with machines that have a 0 attached onto the price.
Oh, easily.
And that's pretty cheap for those machines. Like, Construct 2 at, call it 10 grand, call it 15 grand. It is competing with like a Fortis 250, a Fortis 450 at $250,000 and up.
So, fun fact about that. I'm glad you brought up the Fortis without actually knowing why that's important for it. On our website at the moment, we've already tested Construct 1 against the Fortis 450.
Is this public information, or am I supposed to shut you up right now? It's fully public?
Fully public.
Okay. I don't know.
Not just...
I don't know if I'm supposed to shut you up for things.
So part of the testing, when we initially launched Construct 1, is we went to Warwick Manufacturing Group, which is a government-powered catapult. It's basically a research hub for, in this case, additive machinery. And they took our machine and they said, you are hands off now. We will test it and we will come back to you with marketing claims and what you can do. So they tested it against a Fortis 450. You'll see on the PDF on our homepage of our website, because we had to publicly post it. It's part of the legal requirement of that testing, which we would have done anyway. Is there's one machine that the price tag goes off the top of the bar of the entire sheet. It's the Fortis. Long story short, we printed everything faster, higher quality, better reliability, better strength, faster spool up times, faster spool down time. Basically, any metric you can imagine, the Construct One already beat it by a landslide. And that was never designed to fight on the industrial market. And they were testing some exotics like Nylon 12, which is the harder version to print than Nylon 6. They tested that.
Yep.
And we beat them on an open, well, semi-open frame, regular speed 3D printer for us. It was only 320 millimeters per second. So it's not like an ultra high fast 600, 700, 800 machine. We beat it in every use case, every single one. And that is the microcosm of industry, is they just didn't get better. And then newer machines are going to come along like the Construct 2, which is now designed to fight that machine instead of accidentally beating it. We've gone from the start and gone, you know what? Fuck them. Let's do it. What can they do against us? Oh, they're going to blacklist us? Too bad. We're already blacklisted by Stratasys. I want to get blacklisted by more because it means we're actually a threat to them. And now that we've got the knowledge, these companies like me, like Prusa, like Bamboo Labs are going to start eating away at industrial mindshare because they're not improving. There's only so much you can do to improve.
Look at the
and
startups.
If you don't do it, we will do it.
Look at the startups in 3D printing right now, right? Look at the companies. I'm going to use the two that I know best, right? Luke's Lab, which, by the way, just completed his Kickstarter. Over $80,000 raised for the Pika hot end. I got my $165 into Luke.
And I want to point out, Luke's nozzle is 1000% more advanced than anything in the industrial market.
It's not his nozzle, it's his hot end.
Well, you know what I mean.
Do I, though? Because you would have corrected me if I said that in a video.
Oh, come on. I'm tired. You had me up playing games at 4 a.m.
I did. I was playing games a few hours later than that, too, sir.
But yeah, like, that is what I'm saying, though, is Luke's Lab designed his own thing, made it, production. He is not Stratasys level.
No!
That is much more advanced than anything that company has come out with. Luke's entire eco structure is 1000% more advanced than anything Stratasys has made in the last 15 years.
So is Prusa. Okay.
Yes.
Honestly, Creality is kind of even pushing that boundary too, which is funny to say that now. It is interesting, right? I look at what Luke's Laboratory and what Construct 3D are doing. They are I think Luke's Laboratory and Construct 3D, in no particular order, of course, are the two startups to be watching in 3D printing right now. Now, I'm specifically using the terms 3D printing. If we talk additive manufacturing, the broader industry as a whole, you guys don't matter. Oh, sorry. No. You don't matter because everything that is anything is in metals right now.
Oh, yeah. Metals and powder is like actually super advanced at the moment, and they are duking it out and just ignoring the filament side.
Yep.
Like, even the resin has kind of been dropped off the cliff, and they're just like, you know what? Rocket engines, my dude. How fast can we metal 3D print an Inconel rocket engine? And they are going ham to make that happen.
So someone asked, what about the Sip of Coffee said, what about Stonewolf? Oh, I'm gonna have a hot take right now. I'm gonna have a really hot take about this guy.
Oh, wait. Is this the metal?
It's the one that Joel showed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to say what I think until you say what you think.
If I'm correct, yes, it does look cool. But if I'm correct, that's the same person that's that Prusa dev that was talking in NoisyWorks' video about, you know, Prusa shipping shit. And like, I'm fairly certain those are the same people. I'm almost dead certain they are.
I think you're right. I clocked that when he said he was the next extruder designer.
Yes.
And then just so happens at roughly the same time, Nosy Works releases his video where
It's the
he
same
talks
person.
there's so much
And
overlap,
I
it
want to be
makes it
clear,
possible.
my first interaction with that guy was like, "Hey Grant, how you doing?" I'm like, "Great." So, "Do you know who I am?" Like, "No." "Well, you should. I designed the next extruder." Like, "Okay. Cool. Are you still working with Bruce? You're not in a Bruce thing?" "No, no, I left that piece of shit company years ago." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know you from Adam, and you're over here just dumping on other companies. That's not how this works, my brother. That's not how this works. That's disparaging and not healthy, in my opinion." Right? So while I would love to get him on the show and talk with him about it, that was not a great first impression for me. I believe his machine is interesting, but are they far enough along to be shipping units already? That's the question, right? Construct is shipping machines, Luke is shipping machines. I'm sure there are others. And I said it's what I know of. But yeah, my initial interaction with this guy is, whoa, I have no idea who you are. You're making some wild claims right now, and you're kind of acting like a jerk. Like, you're welcome to say that another company produces garbage. I have no problems with it. But don't have this be in the first time you meet somebody. Like, brother, that's a really bad way to set a first impression for people. You know, it's like I'm gonna key people into something here. Here's some advice for those of you that own businesses that want content creators to come and film with you at events. Don't beg us. Ask us before the event and try to schedule time for us to come by and work with you. If I'm walking past your table to go somewhere, don't grab me and say, "Come and film with me." I have no idea who you are. I don't know anything about your product. And the amount of effort that it takes for us to understand it is way longer than it will take for us to go and film another video and then come back. We're busy. We've got schedules that we're trying to hit so we can keep people happy. That's what we do. We're content creators. If you would like to film with creators, reach out to them before the shows and try to schedule time. Don't grab
Also, implies like you've just ignored the fact they might already be doing
literally
something.
A company grabbed my arm as I was walking, which, by the way, don't do that. Like, really don't do that to a Florida man.
Personal space.
Fight or
Don't do
flight
that.
kicks in, homie, and I don't often choose flight. Like, I did kind of throw their hand off me, and that was a bit of a tough thing to start with, but like, that was such a rough impression for me, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was such a rough impression for me that we actually never went back and filmed with them. Now,
I don't know why you would.
We were going to go film with, there was a build plate company, Mad Cat was talking about it in the Discord. We were going to go try to film with Stone 3D or Stone or however the heck they call themselves. I didn't watch Joel's video on it because I want to interview him. There were a few others we wanted to film with, but the aisles in Rocky Mountain, if you're not on the outside, even though we're running a 16mm lens, we have to block the entire aisle on the inner aisles so people can't walk by for us to film to get a wide enough shot for it to make sense. Tyson Build. Thank you. Tyson.build. They make some cool plates, but they were on the interior areas where we can't reasonably film. So, Dreams Boy said, "Dang it, Jacob. Why did you touch Grant's arm that way?" This son of a bitch slammed a door in my face. Twice!
Twice
and you
now.
don't even know the second one yet. Actually, no, you are not a son of a bitch. Your mother is a lovely lady. She would kick my ass.
I'm clipping that. There
no! We go. It's a format. It is a colloquial term. But yeah, guys, if you want to work with content creators and you want them to film with you at events, freaking reach out to us before the events. We are often more than happy to come and take a, if nothing else, at least come say hi and see what you got. But I'll say, if you're still listening now and you haven't been like, F this guy, I'm leaving, I'll say one more thing. If you didn't get the ability to film with us at an event and you wanted to show off what you were doing, assuming you are not a like Etsy seller, right? If you are an Etsy seller, come on this podcast, bring your numbers because we're gonna have a day. You're not gonna like it. It's gonna be like the Caleb Hammer financial audit thing, and we're gonna go through the business model of selling on Etsy. So I highly recommend you don't do that.
I will be drawing graphs based on dates.
And I'm not a
and I'll be
financial
pulling everything
advisor.
up.
I have an accountant. I'm bad with that kind of stuff, but I know better. But if you are a manufacturer, startup, whatever, and want to like be on our channel, you can come on, but now you get a podcast. And as I told Bill from Recreator 3D, he had a really cool thing. I'm like, Bill, I'm looking at this. This is not a short 5-minute, 10-minute video. This is a podcast. So here's my card. After the show, let's get together. He's emailed me already. I need to get back to him. But let's get you set up for a podcast. Because it is way more beneficial for you to have an hour or more to talk about what you do in detail to people that are going to listen. Right? That is what matters to me. Mad Cat says wood or paper. My cards are either wood or metal. I think I still had metal cards on me, so I was giving out metal cards. They're way easier to carry. But like,
I haven't got one of your metal cards yet, but unfortunately, you have been outdone with.
Hide the information. Oh,
it's fine. It's auto blur.
Look at that.
I got this card, pure metal, but the cool thing about this, so every coin in the UK and every medal and any like military award always has the maker mark on it somewhere. It's really tiny. So if you turn over a £1 coin that has the new king's head on it, you'll see there's 3 letters at the bottom. I met the guy who does that.
That's cool.
It's him. I met the guy.
Okay, well,
and
he's allowed to have a cooler card than me.
Honestly, I never expected what he looked like. We were just chatting at an Autodesk event, and he just turned around being like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you see all of these medals that you see and everything. Oh yeah, I designed them." I'm like, "It's like shit. This is like this is dad law, where you turn around, never tell your child that this is happening. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, you know the equivalent of like the Purple Heart or anything. Oh yeah, I designed that."
So, like, you know my wood cards, they're a little under 3 millimeters thick, right?
Yep.
This is 50 metal cards. They're 0.1 millimeters thick. I buy the blanks, and then we laser them. Now, the nice thing is these take 13 seconds, and there's basically no dust, debris, dirt, whatever. There's a little bit of blue dust, but it's way easy to deal with. Versus the wood cards, which take about 1.5 minutes to cut out. Then I take them over to the X tool. So I cut them on the CO2. I take them to the X tool, and then I burn them with the X tool because it's way faster on the X tool with the Galvo. The wood cards take a lot longer, and they require a supplementary cleaning process, where the metal cards don't. So I really, really like the metal cards. MLV says, aren't they sharp to carry? No, not really. They're pre-cut. They're not that sharp. No, really, if you want to get something from us when you see us, and this is the trick, if you see us out at shows, I have cat pins on me almost every time. So if you see me at a show, ask for a cat pin. We have them. If it is Smurf, it is not a required donation, but it is a recommended donation amount to the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation. If we are not at Smurf, whatever, man. But, you know, we give them out. I spent a lot of money on those pins, and we just give them out. Because I think they're fun. And I normally have some in my car, so if you randomly see me out in public and you want one, just ask. But DevMiner says I have PCB cards built in RFID chips. That's cool.
That's cool.
I am at a point now in my like cyber security side of things that like a company's like, oh yeah, you can download this through the QR. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Oh well, then you can't access it. Okay, bye. Like, no, don't go. I'm like, why? Why? You tell me I can't go into this unless I scan your QR code. I'm not doing it. Oh well, there's other ways. I said, great. Then don't tell me this is the only way to do it. So, yeah, things. Christopher Elliott says I like Ellie's Rainbow V6 enamel pin. I do too.
Yes.
I liked it so much we used the same company to get the pins made. So, yeah. MLV says I'm in Central EU, so not many shows around here, and even less 3D Musketeers attended shows. We are trying to get to Forum next. You just had the Printed Europe show that just happened. There's another show coming up in like a week or two, I thought. You had Prague Maker Fair that was on the 10th and the 11th of May. You've got a lot more shows than you think, and your travel's very cheap within Europe. We are happy to go to more shows in Europe, but we need sponsors to pay for it. If we don't have sponsors to pay for it, I can't afford like $3,000 in plane tickets just to go to these shows. Like, we would love to go to Form Next. It is going to cost us about $3,500 to go just for the couple of days of Form Next. Like, and that's before we do all the editing costs associated with it. And that doesn't even bring Jacob out. Mind you, Jacob is not expensive compared to what it will cost to bring me.
You've heard it here first. I'm cheap.
Well, no, you're closer.
No, I'm cheap.
So, yeah. Hence why we're hiring the right people. We're hiring editors, and the goal is to build this channel up. We just need more people to do it. So, if you have the skill set, we are hiring editors. There's a little bit of description down below in the description. But just email us. Use the term... Read the description of this video if you want to get an editor position with 3D Musketeers. If you don't follow the instructions, I'm not even going to look at it, because you have to be able to follow basic instructions. You gotta do a little bit of effort for me.
Don't worry, there's no Dance Dance Revolution like pre-step to see if you can follow instructions or not.
No, none of that. None of that. MLV said there was some show organized with Prussia, but the tickets were like 400 euros with Slovakia discount a bit too much for now. Well, you had Prague Maker Fair. It's pretty close to Slovakia. You could have gone there. But yes, Forum Next. So for those who don't know, Forum Next is all industry. You're not going to see a lot of like the Crealities. You will see Prussia, but you're going to see more of like Prussia Pro there. You're going to see Bamboo there, but they're going to be showing more of their industrial stuff, right? That's what Form Next is. That's kind of what my background is. So I want to go to Form Next. So we're hoping.
I want to go to Form Next. That is the one thing as a company I'm aiming for, is get to Form Next. We just have to get to a certain size where it's safe. That's ironically,
and to afford
that is the danger point. Well, afford isn't really the big issue. While it will take a massive chunk out of anything because it is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's actually stopping us is safety.
Uh-huh.
You can't do a trade show with 2 people because that's an unsafe thing to do, where you are doing all the logistics, setting up the machines, manning the stall, forgetting to eat for 5 days.
Yeah.
Because you are working all those times. So yeah, we'll get there eventually. We might need to partner with someone. Might need to go with like another store, like merge with someone, just because we cannot go alone. We will kill ourselves trying to be good hosts.
Yep, it is.
And we do that locally.
It is difficult.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if Grant saw what we normally do at like TCT, we're not going to TCT. Bear in mind.
Yep.
Don't show up if you're expecting me to go there. Me and maybe Mum, or maybe the other way around, Mum and maybe me might be walking around TCT, but we are not exhibiting at TCT. It's dead. So that's why. But yeah, if Grant ever saw us at one of these shows with our machines, he would just look at us and just be like, no, you're going for a rest right now. I'll take over because he will be there
I've
and be like, "When
literally
was the
seen
last
you
time
at
you
shows.
drank?"
I know what it looks like. I look the same way, homie.
Yeah, you look at us and go, "When was the last time you had a drink?" And I'm like, 5.5 hours ago. When was the last time you ate anything? Yesterday.
You can solve
It's
that.
not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, it's life, though. A couple of days of pain to, change the outcome and the future of the company positively is well worth it to me.
It's worth it every
I go
time,
through
but
way
holy
more
shit.
pain for nothing.
I
So
go to a holiday pretty much every time afterwards where I come home and I sleep for 48 hours and that's it. And then I wake up and I feel slightly better. Not better, just slightly better.
So, Jacob, I have a question for you.
Oh, go on.
Should I be mean to Doug or should I let it go?
Always be mean to Doug. He's
Okay.
British.
Doug, you can't spell Musketeers. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're literally watching the channel. It's not it's right there. It's all over. Musket, like the firearm, not muscat, like deer poop in the woods. Gosh. 3D Musketeers and Construct 3D at the next Forum next with a Table Together podcasting, the event, live with people coming to the table to be interviewed. Yes, absolutely. That would be
That sounds
amazing.
amazing, to be fair.
Oh, I
That
would
would be
love
really
it.
fun.
I would love it. That would be so much fun. We would have to, qualify and all that. I mean, we could just grab random people, but that
Yep.
gets shady real quick. But dude, totally would do that all the time. If there are companies that want us to come out and do podcasts at their facilities, we've done it before. We'll do it again.
Hmm.
Uh, so it
Trust me, you
is.
get a good experience when that happens. You've
Oh,
got
it's so much
multiple
fun.
cameras, so much. Oh, and you get all the B-roll afterwards, which is even better. So if you just want somebody to film your factory so you can use it internally, that's another good reason to pull us out there because you get content and media.
Yeah, we'll stick 4K cameras inside of your machines and won't care about the cameras, because we care about the machine. So, yeah. Wow, you all are really going far on this. The best one so far that I've had was actually from someone who's right banned from this channel that we don't talk about was 3D Mouse Tears. I'm like, damn it, that's a good one. That's a
Oh,
good
that is
one.
good.
Oh, that was a good one. We've got Muskrat Beers, 3D Meerkats, 3D Musketeers, 3D Mustard Beers, 3D Must Drink Beers. Now that's if we had Stone Cold
That's a
Steve
good
Austin.
one.
If we get the Stone Cold Steve Austin on here, we will change the name of the show to 3D Must Drink Beers. Uh,
We need to get custom artwork for that. Just actually
really,
replace everything that
there is
shows up with
no
that.
reason that Steve Austin would ever come on this show, but if that can happen, we will absolutely get custom art made that is 3D must drink beers, and we will have a drinking episode of some sort where we're drinking crappy American beer, and I will ship you crappy American beer.
Oh
Or
no,
you can
I've
go buy
only
it.
heard bad things about.
If you
Look,
would,
I've got crappy British beer,
no, it's
but I think that's
worse.
going to be better than American beer.
Set up a booth at Oktoberfest. Oh god. 3D musty fears. So Dreams Void says you asked for this. Now I'm gonna misspell it on purpose every time. I mean, okay. David Connor Showa says Florida Musketeers. Well, I don't have the attorneys of Disney, but I'll take it. Um,
Oh,
Matt's Makerspace says I want another. I have another, but I don't want a soft ban. Send it. Send it. Maker's Court says, what about Yingling? That's actually made local. Not a huge fan of it, to be honest, but I'm not a huge fan of American beer in general. I really like the Czech Pilsner, but now I'm like kind of spoiled that I do enjoy that. But I also might not have a. I've got a weird taste for alcohol. So, like, there was a party after Rocky Mountain, and we gave out shots of the blood of Christ, aka Jepson's Malort, because the Pope is from Chicago, and that means the blood of Christ is Jepson's Malort, and the body of Christ is deep dish pizza. And we all know this. This is fact and canon at this point, since the Pope is from Chicago. I don't hate Malort in the way that everybody else does. I can drink it, and it's not that big of a deal. Everybody else like, oh, this stuff is terrible. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. But it's like maybe I just don't have a good taste for alcohol. I don't know.
I mean, you don't have a good taste for soft drinks. I gave you Kinney and you were like, eh.
That's true, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy's here. The dude is here. Said there is a clear absolute drink after Surströmming. Yeah, that I thought I was going to be splitting with somebody, and it turned out that I was having 3 shots of vodka on my own. The dude is here. The dude is here. Oh, Jimmy. We have some great shots from that Surströmming thing. We need to get that packaged up and send it over to Jimmy. Just those shots of me hating myself and him being the absolute
Ultra mega chav.
just it was tremendous. There's no way to describe it. It needs to become a GIF that we use on this channel. Malort is the Surströmming of alcohol. Ooh, that's a hot take. That's a hot take that's worth a like, at least, on this channel. We have 81 likes, 147 people watching. Y'all can like the video, that'd be real great. Or like the stream, or whatever the hell. Yeah.
Do it for me. Like it for me.
Yeah, do it for pretty boy Jacob. Don't do it for the penguin, do it for the pretty boy. Yeah, like, okay, here's, I'm gonna, so, after it was the Friday night, right? Yeah, it was Friday night.
I think it was, yeah.
Where, yeah, it was Friday night, because it was after the public open house at Bontech. We got back to the hotel. Jimmy was still in the area because unfortunately his car had died and he needed to get it charged. So he was still in the area. So we got together in the hotel, like, little lobby area they had, and we were just hanging out. But we were trying, like, I had some American candy on me because I like to snack. So Jacob and Jimmy were trying absolutely atrocious American candy, and it was hilarious. I have some of it recorded on my phone.
How did you make candy taste like nothing?
It was pretty bad.
They gave us some licorice, so American licorice instead of the Swedish licorice that actually has a flavor to it.
Well,
and me and Jimmy look at each other. Well, me and Jimmy look at each other, go, how does this just taste like nothing? Like, not even a taste of sugar. I do mean void, nothing. You're chewing it like
Twizzlers, by the way, for the Americans wondering what they were eating.
It didn't even taste like wax. It felt like wax and tasted of air.
I think it was at that point that I decided to go back to the hotel room, grab the 360 camera, and put it in the middle of the table, because I could record their reactions, but I could not record mine at the same time. And that is the value of being a channel member, is you, with Jimmy's approval, of course, will be able to see all of that footage.
I still don't get it. How did you make
we gave some to
nice
Nepo and Robin when
treat.
they came into town too. They're so bad.
Well, it's got calories in it, but it tastes like nothing. I wanted my money back and I didn't even buy it. I was going to go to the manager over this. It was that bad. And I'm like,
yeah.
Did not put me on a good start. And then the only sweets that did taste good that you brought, well, ironically, European.
The Haribo.
The Haribo.
The twin snakes
with
Haribo
none of,
pretty good.
and you were like constantly telling us how, like, oh, they put corn syrup in everything, and we look in the back of the Haribo, the only one that tastes good and there's no corn syrup. It's just regular Haribo.
So yeah, it was fun. We often like to hang out with fans when we can. Jimmy drove an 8-hour round trip to come and meet us and see Bontech and all of that. So yeah, damn right, we're gonna go and hang out. So
such a cool guy, such a cool experience.
Yeah,
like hell yeah.
Still doesn't even feel real, dude. It still doesn't feel real.
It's part of like my history lore now that I still don't think was real. Like, I'm telling the story and I'm like, oh yeah, we did do this. This was pretty cool. I should not be feeling that afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, Doug said he needs my P.O. box. I don't have a P.O. box. Fun fact, all of this it's all public in Florida. I can't hide where I live in Florida. I literally cannot hide it. So don't abuse that. And if you send me things if you send things and you don't tell me that you're sending something, it will get destroyed. I will not eat it. It will get destroyed. Likely with fire. because we can't trust things that come from people we don't know. So if you're going to sell things, or if you're going to send things, please let me know. You don't have to tell me what it is. Just tell me that you're sending something, the size of it, and its tracking number. That's all that I request.
So you're telling me I can't send you a random cake filled with tannerite without warning you in advance?
I'm fairly certain that violates multiple clauses under ITAR to do that kind of thing. But I can just go
Your
buy...
Honor, I wasn't sending a parcel bomb. I swear, I was just doing a funny meme to
But
my friend.
Tannerite does it... Tannerite's a binary explosive. If you burn it, nothing happens.
Oh, that's why you mix it in advance and you just hope it doesn't do anything wrong on the entire journey over. Duh.
Yeah, Nepo, all you have to do is tell me that you're sending stuff. Like, that's fine. We've met in person. If I've met you in person, it's a completely different thing. If I've never met you before and you want to send, like, fan mail or something, just let me know. Because I'm a little hesitant, because, like, I could go get a P.O. box, but literally it takes 30 seconds on Google to figure out where I live. It's not difficult. And, like, I'm like, well, if getting a P.O. box just costs me more money and causes me to do more work. If my home address is public, whatever, you know.
There's also some like weirdly nice comfort knowing you can't accidentally dox yourself, because you've already doxed yourself.
I mean, as I've told people that have said that they're outside of my house before, if you would like to play F Around and Find Out Florida Man Edition, we're happy to play this game. I live on a couple of acres of land. I understand my rules, my laws, and my constitution. And we'll leave it at that. But ultimately, just, let me know. Yeah, it's totally fine if you want to send, fan mail and all that. I would love to start doing like fan mail Fridays or something like a little thing at the end of Print Fix Friday where we open a little bit of fan mail or something. But, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I should just go get a P.O. box. Maybe then I don't have to worry about...
No, don't do a P.O. box. It's funny. It shows up at your house. It's lazy. It shows up at your house.
I know, it is lazy, but at the same time, then it's like... If you're using Amazon, then you get a picture of my front porch, which is messy.
The whole point... well, the whole point is the protection of getting a P.O. box disappears anyway because the Wayback Machine exists.
Yeah. Jason, with, I'm assuming their ham radio call sign, says 4 out of 5 sheriffs approve of FAFO. F around and find out. I'm not in Grady Judd country, but I'm very close to Grady Judd country. Lewis said, I saw a video of yours earlier today with your address on it. That's weird.
Sus?
Seems sus. And then, yeah, Cloud Hammer says, then I have to go to the P.O. box, get whatever it is. I don't want to go to the P.O. box. That's a waste of time. I don't want to do that crap.
And that's actually why you shouldn't do it, because things will pile up. You will forget it exists. You'll come back in 6 months. And then you have to get a rental truck to move everything over.
Every freaking time. Every freaking time. Also, the tactical printing person, if they're still here, I did just email you the link to the Discord. So you can join, because I figure we'll be wrapping up here relatively soon. Because we are so far out of off topic.
Yeah, we're just in the chill out and chat shit mode right now.
Yeah, look, if you've made it this far, you just wanna chill and hang out with us. So, staying on topic's not that important. And this is why we want a dedicated podcast editor, so that these shows can get edited and sent to a completely new channel. This is going to be fun. But yeah.
That is not the channel name, by the way. This is going to be fun is not the channel name.
Oh, that would be funny, though.
Unless, is it? Are we going to make that the channel name? This is going to be fun. And then it's just us talking about food and being ADHD spicy about 3D printers for 3 hours.
So, apparently, no joke, they'll refrain from saying which video it was here. Email it to me. I'm now very curious to know what video it was, because I've never given out my address.
I want to point and laugh.
Well, if it's not my video, I want to get a lawyer. But, Otherwise, yeah, it's anyways,
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, you can Google my name and my home address shows up. So
I'm gonna make it real simple. Don't be shitheads, right? Like, don't be stupid. If you don't like someone, you haven't. It's my video where I've said my home
oh,
address.
oh.
You've seen my house in videos, but I don't think I've ever said my home address in videos. I've told you that I live in Tampa, which is very nondescript. Uh, whatever.
In before it turns out Lewis is just like a pro geoguesser moment. So the moment you showed your house, he's like, it's there.
Look, here you are on Google, on Google Maps or whatever it is. You're outside. I can see you. Oh, not said. It's a screenshot. Oh, okay. Well, oh, I bet I know which one it is. I think I know what video it is. I'm curious though. Send it to me. I'm very curious to know which video it's in. Tactical Printing says if they don't like you, why would they be here? Or they don't have a
They
like.
hate themselves.
You'd be surprised how far haters will go to find information to just be mean. Like, I bet when we're done with the stream, it'll have at least one downvote. Happens all the time.
You know what? Screw you. I'm going to make that happen now.
Don't do that. You're supposed to like the video, asshole.
Now people have to like the video to undo my my
Oh,
dislike.
that's it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Reverse psychology like that. I have
says hate watching
disliked the video. Somebody has to up those numbers now.
That's the what is that? Like, that's like rage baiting our audience.
Yeah.
God. Well,
I will hold my own audience at gunpoint to like the video, or I will suicide into the ground.
I think that the long and short of what's happening in the market right now is we're seeing a market consolidation, right? And we're gonna. This is gonna get worse before it gets better, right?
We are seeing the two C's of industry: consolidation and culling. And they are happening at the same time. And is it a bad thing? I don't think so. I think this is just a necessary part of our industry maturing.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It sucks, right? Because there are going to be good people that did literally nothing wrong, right? They just worked at the wrong company. And it wasn't there. I mean, it was still not a bad... Like, BCN 3D is not a bad company by any stretch of the imagination. But, like, at the same time, can employees and staff of a company do more to help the company see the writing on the wall? Sometimes, like, dude, as a business owner, I often rely on our staff to, like, tell me I'm doing something wrong, right? To, like, remind me or to ground me is probably the right way to say it, right? So do companies that have employees that are vocal about that don't listen? I mean, it's kind of their own fault, but says something about the managers and things than the staff, doesn't it?
I'll give you a spoiler. It's always the middle managers.
Yeah.
Always. And if you think you're a middle manager and it's not you, it's still you. You're the problem. Even if you think you're not.
I know I'm part of the problem. I know I'm part of the problem. And it's why I tell our staff, I don't want you to blanket agree with me. But if you're going to disagree with me, bring evidence, right? Bring something to the table. My last job, my injury was directly because of poor middle management. My life is now different. My trajectory is now different because of that one split-second moment where I listened to someone that I knew I shouldn't have listened to. I can't go back and change it. I'm not going to disparage on them. I'm not even going to call anyone out by name. I'm also contractually obligated not to do all that, so I'm not going to. But I look at this and say, if you are an owner of a business, even if it is a solopreneur, where you're the only person working in it, make sure to have people that will keep you honest, that will challenge you to think outside the box and look outside of the box of your business. Because if not, you are doomed. Statistically speaking, you might get lucky. You might get lucky and get a one-hit wonder, right? But I can tell you, lots of one-hit wonders, and you won't be able to tell me the band that did it. Simply because they don't matter anymore. Now, if you're smart enough and hit that one-hit wonder and then cash out, congratulations. We call you Brie Pettis. If you're not smart enough to do that, or you don't get a buyout, we likely end up calling you BCN 3D. Part of the deal is staying fluid. If you can't fill the gaps, fill the cracks, and be able to move with the market, you're doomed. At least in my opinion. And you know what? If I'm wrong, prove it. I'm totally happy to be the guy that eats crow because someone else was right on something that I'm like really, 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 specific about. That engineering, 100%. One guy I have on our team really sucks to work with sometimes, but he brings us back to reality every time. I wouldn't trade him for anything.
Yes. Always find the person who will be that annoying thorn in your side, but for the good reasons. It's there's a saying I absolutely despise, which is there's no such thing as a stupid question. There is straight up a stupid question.
There are plenty of stupid
questions.
Can I
lick the plug is a stupid question. There are stupid questions. It's up to certain people in bigger companies to be able to tell somebody, hey, that idea you had about what we're going to be doing with our product or not doing with our product, that's stupid and here's why. Sometimes either you have to be the one that is outspoken and ruffle the feathers, or find somebody who doesn't mind ruffling the feathers for you so they can make sure that you are doing the job you should be doing instead of pretending to do the job you're doing while assuming it's being done.
As Chad Kreider says, the devil's advocate is a necessary evil. I could not agree more. It's part of why I love doing this channel and love having the podcast with you, Jacob, because this keeps us grounded, it keeps us focused on what's going on around us, and forces us to remain up to date with what is occurring in the industry, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And you know what? It's pretty cool. I dig it. It's a lot of time, effort, and money on all of our sides, but I don't think I would trade it for anything right now.
No. It's pretty wholesome, weirdly enough.
Nothing under 8 figures.
Look,
8 figures and above, I'll trade it in a heartbeat.
As I've already said, I've got a price tag, and we've already said in this episode, and I'm pretty cheap.
Everybody's got a price tag. Everybody's got a price tag.
Everyone's got a price tag. And if you think you don't, you do.
And if you want to hear probably the single best monologue about that, it is going to be the monologue of John Goodman from The Gambler, the position of FU. That is as a business owner, you should be able to recite the bulk majority of that entire monologue that John Goodman has on The Gambler, because that is the reason you're in business. You are in business to make money. BCN 3D was in the business to make money. OpenBuilt is in the business to make money. These companies have realized, voluntarily, by the way, because BCN was a voluntary bankruptcy. I believe OpenBuild is the same. They realized voluntarily they're not going to make it. And it makes more sense for them to shut their doors and stop the bleeding, then it means to continue and let the hemorrhaging commence. If you can catch the wound before it gets bigger, then the damage that's done is considerably less. Because remember, at the end of the day, unless you are a solopreneur, when your company goes under, it's not just you. Your staff are often riding at least part of the ship down with you. And if you know the ship is going in the wrong direction, give them the opportunity to abandon ship before it's too late. Don't make them go down with you. It's the polite thing to do.
Nicely said.
I will never forget the one time in the history of this company we couldn't make payroll. I'll never forget it. I will never forget the feeling that I had when I had to go to our singular employee. This was back when we had a lot of overhead. I was not taking paychecks or anything like that. We had a single employee. And I said, hey, we've got a problem. I said, pay is due in like 3 days. I can tell you right now, we don't have the money to do it. But I will in a week. And I said, and if we don't as a company, I will personally fund it for you. I just need a little bit of patience and a little bit of understanding. That was the hardest conversation I've ever had. And I've never not been able to pay people since. It was that one time and one time only. I do sometimes miss the calendar invites from the staff to pay them because I'm so busy and I don't notice it, and then the notification goes away and I'm like, well, that doesn't exist anymore. So I have to get reminded every now and then. But that was literally because we didn't have the money to do it. And every business owner that's been in that position knows that feeling.
Oh, yes.
And as long as you can come out of that and learn something more than, bunch of suckers, which is not what you should be learning, by the way. I have faith that even if your first venture doesn't work, maybe the next one does. This would be great to have Andrew from Gloop on here.
Oh, yeah.
Because his first venture, oh, man. Oh, it didn't do well. Oh, it didn't do well at all. He's talked about it before. But this new one with Gloop, they just bought a building, homie. A 9,000 square foot building with a parking lot.
Hey, if they want to fly us out to do some filming,
stay tuned.
I'd be up for that.
Stay tuned. Anyways, any final thoughts that we want to put here before giving away some filament, sending these fine folks to go hang out with Mr. Steve Builds?
No, I think you've covered it really nicely. It's all about, especially as the market changes, things will keep changing. Staying aware that the concurrent development of future needs to be concurrent. It needs to never be ending, because the moment you stop developing is the moment you start dying. It's like breathing. If you stop breathing, it's not that you've paused, you've started dying. And it's the same thing with business. If you are in a business and you're feeling comfortable and you're feeling fine and you're pulling back on the development, that's actually the time to double down, because it doesn't take a lot of effort to realize what you're not doing in retrospect, but then it can be too late, and you never want to be in that situation. And then for the viewers, I'd love to see in the comments after this, what do you think about the marketing and where it's going with the industry? Do you think it is just getting so muddy that the marketing means nothing to you? Where's the sentiment going? What do you think? That would be really nice to see, just because it is really good data. It's a good data point, because I know for me, I don't look at marketing anymore. I look at reviews, because I can't trust the marketing. I can trust the YouTubers, though.
It's hard to trust YouTubers, though.
And that is not a good thing to be, because YouTubers have an incentive to make things look better than they are.
We do.
But yeah, I'd love to see what the community thinks of that. Yeah. So leave a comment down below. Make sure you've liked if you haven't.
Look at
There's the
him with the
YouTuber thing.
CTAs. I'm seeing they
There
grow
you
up
go.
so fast.
Look at me. But yeah, that's it for me. How about we take it away?
Well, I got one more thing.
Oh.
So, I believe that consolidation is inevitable. And, we asked kind of, is consolidation a good thing? I think it is. But that depends on who it's good for. See, when we look at it as business owners, we look at consolidation as a danger, a problem. But if we look at it as consumers, consolidation, to a certain extent, is a good thing. Because it means those that are taking up time and not doing anything that is moving the industry forward, they go away. As a business, well, you have to wonder, am I going to fall to the ways of BCN and open builds? Or am I going to succeed? Unfortunately, we can't tell the future. Certainly not the two people that are in this show. So we just keep working. Have a plan, follow it, but be willing to change it. Don't be afraid of change. It can be scary, but don't fear it. Welcome it. Understand it. Because it will either be your greatest friend or, quite frankly, your downfall. That's how I look at it, at least. For my, how many years in business? 14? And not all of them were with 3D Musketeers. So, yeah. Let's send these people, let's give away some film and send people on their way. So we're going to go ahead and end the show here. So if you are listening audio only, thank you so much for watching. And if you do want to, enjoy the entire show, you can by heading over to the 3D Musketeers YouTube channel, subscribing, and watching the live streams where they will be in their entirety, theoretically in perpetuity. That is all we have for you all today on this 229th episode of the Making Awesome podcast. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Okay. Recording is done. I guess I can shut off. So we're starting to record our face cams too. I can now stop the recording of the face cam as well. And just let those remux. So, all right. Let's give away some...
Wait, where do you get the remux option? Because I've just saved mine and it hasn't given me any.
Oh, so mine is currently remuxing right now. I forget where it is. And I can't view it while we're live because it won't let me go into the settings and that kind of stuff. So,
I swear, if I've recorded all of this and it's all unusable.
No, you can use MKV. It just MP4 is better. But you can also get, what is it called that does remuxing? What's the program? Its logo is a pineapple. I forget. I'm going to give away some filament. I got to remember what the name of the thing is, though. Let's see. 65 people entered. So let's get those names. Get them into the wheel of names. The wheel of names. The wheel of names. Shuffle it quite a few times. Spin to win. Handbrake. Yes, see? Oh, I love this community. I love this community. I just tell them that it's a remuxing program that has a pineapple as its freaking logo, and it's Handbrake.
Oh.
I love this community so much.
Well done, community.
Well done. Well freaking done. Let me see if they got the math right. More than one of you didn't get the math right. Spinning again. Sorry, kids. All right, let me check this one. It takes a second. I'm sorry. I know this is very boring to you guys. There he is.
It's the pressure and the hype building up for the free shit.
So they
Everyone loves
must
free
be
stuff.
here for it. Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott. So, VI. Oh, vid coder is better than Handbrake? Oh, I didn't know. I've always used Handbrake. Hope Grant didn't change the math. No, I didn't change the math. Christopher Elliott says, damn wrong, Elliott. So we'll give them another second or two to show up. If they're not here, we give it to somebody else. Wow, I noticed. Wait, when did those metrics change? So we were doing really, really well at like the 150, 160 range, and then right around, looks like 230, we dropped into the 140s. That's so weird. So weird how this works. Oh, and I don't think I turned off responses. I didn't. I'm turning off responses. All right, so they're not here. So, Sam Elliott has not replied, so I am resetting their name color. And instead, let's see if this person wins. Where's their name? It is always so hard to find people's names. There they are. AK Inferno. Are you here? They got it right. AK Inferno. Christopher Elliott says, give it to the other Elliott. Oh, hilarious. Oh, let's just see if I can tag him.
Okay. I've definitely been recording something because
no. Oh no, what did you do?
How big is the file size of yours?
Normally like 10 gigs.
Okay, I'm gonna play with OBS right now so I can show instead of saying it, because this has to be shown.
No, Jacob, let's do this in the after show.
Oh yeah.
All right, AK Inferno's not here either, so all right.
MLV, you're right. I might have been recording lossless.
Yeah. Rip skidoodles.
Yeah.
Rip skidoodles. Let me see if this person got everything right. Sorry this takes so long. I wish there was an easier way to do this. Where the hell's their name? I've been up and down through this list twice. What the frig? Oh, there it is. Yeah, John MYTB. I think I saw you in there literally commenting right now. Let's see. Yeah, John M. You're in there. I can see you. All right, sweet. We got one. We got one. We got one. Sweet. All right, John M, you win. Message me on Discord or over on Twitter. I am behind on getting filament out. Now that we're back, I should have a better chance of getting it out to people. So, y'all, enjoy the rest of your day. We're gonna send you over to Mr. Steve Builds. I think he's working on Core 1 conversion from a Mark 4S. If you are in our Discord, we will see you in the after show in the Hangout channel. Otherwise...
And I will be telling you how much this file is. I don't think you're ready.
Oh God,
this file is big.
How big is it,
Jacob? I'm glad I put this on my my slow drive.
Jacob.
God, it's not good.
Jacob. No, Jacob, don't.
God, I wouldn't be able to upload this if I even tried.
How many gigs is it?
3 numbers.
Oh God. Oh God. Jacob.
3 numbers.
Jacob, that's too much. Jacob, that's too much. Oh my gosh. All right. We're out. Bye, y'all. Take care. We'll see you. If you're in the Discord, or see you in the Discord. If you're not, $10 tier and higher, you have an opportunity. See you later.